Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 251. Max is actually not feeling well. He's off tonight. We'll see him back next week. And then Sean had somewhere to be for like 20 minutes or something. I don't know. He'll be popping in randomly. I'm sure he'll be here somewhere. But we decided to bring in someone who could tell us all about this Xbox stuff. That, of course, being Rand Thor 19. Rand, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about this.
Yeah, that is basically our topic tonight because it has so much to it, and it's going to take a while to get through with any other questions, of course, that pop up in the chat and all of this that we usually go through. So I figured, you know what, let's just talk about all the ramifications because it is legitimately like a part of history in gaming that is going to be looked back on for a long time because it changes everything. So we'll be spending some time going through all the pieces of this. Let's go around here. We have OJ from Player Essence. How are we doing, OJ?
Doing pretty good. Although I'm very upset that RGT is not here and we can't talk about Metroid. I'm very upset that Metroid's not a topic here.
Oh, you know it's going to be a topic in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
When they drop those numbers.
Yeah, we got to talk about that because I think he's RGT fraud. RGF.
Yeah, he doesn't seem so confident anymore. So
how can you be a fan of this guy? He sat there and fed you guys false information for months and then backed out, then ran as soon as there was a little sign of trouble. I'm very disappointed in this man, but I'm glad that Randall's here.
let's go over to MVG with the Windjammer shirt representing over there.
What's going on? Great to be here. It's great to have Rand on. I'm going to ask him some hard-hitting questions tonight about this acquisition because I have questions, Rand. So let's do it.
Hopefully, I have answers for you.
Okay. And then we have Click. How are we doing tonight, Miss Click?
Hi, doing great. How are you guys?
Good. And we got Jordan Fringe.
What's going on? Glad to be here.
Good to have Jordan here. And then we have Evan, of course, making sure everything's running smoothly. So let's we had a Discord question before we get into all the Activision stuff. I figured we'd do a few Discord questions first.
Yeah, we do have a few. I had to edit some out because a lot of people asked multiple questions, which I told them not to. But in episode 250, Click talked about games being marketed to or being the target for younger demographics. I have often said that we are no longer the primary target audience anymore for games. How do you reconcile this as you get older? Do you fall back on older games, adapt to play games you do not like for the sake of gaming?
I see. Okay. I see.
I think it comes down to branching out. I mean, I think there are tons of different games for different markets, and maybe you might find something that you never thought you'd like before. And then as well as if you still like a series and you don't want to drop it, like respect it for what it is. And, you know, you can talk objectively on it, but try new things.
I think the good thing about gaming is it's so big. We still even get the traditional JRPGs like Octopath Traveler or Triangle Strategy coming up.
Yeah,
so
of course.
you still have those old games, like old school playing games, but we do have games that are adapting to like be more mainstream, like what Final Fantasy VII Remake did. And apparently what the next Dragon Quest is going to do. It sounds like they might go kind of in that direction a bit as well. But like the live service stuff, again, it's like you kind of adapt to that part because that's just we're seeing that with like all the major franchises. But the nice thing is we still have a lot of indie games that come out that still really like the old school style, and you know they'll stick with those if you got to. So we got Evan.
Why do Steam Deck simps try to compare it to the Switch still? It will never reach those sales numbers, and it doesn't need to be a success in its own realm.
Why do they come? Because I don't know, both hybrid
handheld,
systems.
Both handheld.
That'd be why.
At the very least, it's a peek at what could possibly, at least partially, become something Nintendo might look into for the next iteration. So
sure. I mean, you see other handhelds that are very expensive, like the Aya Neo has their next, and it's like that looks really cool, and then you find out it's $1,400. So you're like,
Wood just did a video on that, you know, and you know he talked to me about it beforehand, and yeah, it's really cool, and the video it's like dope, but it's like expensive, and I think it also gives you a little bit of an idea of how expensive it is to make one of these things.
Yeah.
And so when people start talking about power and all that, that's great, but you're gonna spend $400, $500, $600, $1,000 if you want something incredible. So it almost makes it seem like, dang, I was pretty crazy to be able to get switched the price that it's at.
Yeah,
all things considered.
It's kind of like a concept car. I mean, those things are always billions of dollars, but functions from them end up in like your standard cars you get later. So I mean, it's just something.
Yeah, and all these companies for like the more mainstream products are so concerned about price. It's very important. So like, you don't think Microsoft or Sony would love to make $1,000 console? I bet they'd be happy with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys see the interview with Gabe Newell when he talked about the price of it?
Yeah, he said it was hard. He says like that's the hardest part.
He looked dejected at that part. He looked like,
Yeah.
man, like we might be making a mistake, you know?
Yeah, like they had to do a lot to get that thing to $400. So, and it doesn't even come with the like they're gonna do a dock and all this extra stuff. Apparently, it's like
The memory is
yeah,
the memory. I mean, it's you got to download everything, so it's like
yeah,
right off the bat, you know.
tough. It's tough. You got another Discord question, Evan?
We got a guy thinking of buying a PS2 somewhat soon. He was wondering what are some of your guys' favorite PS2 games? Basically, just PS2 recommendations.
I mean, dude, there's a lot of PS2 games.
Where do we get started? How long do we have?
There's a lot of PS2 titles.
the old Red
Metal Gear
Factions.
Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Silent Hill 2,
The Jack and Daxter series.
Jack and Daxter,
God of War, God of War 1, God of War 2, in particular,
Shadow-
God of War 2.
Shadow of the
I was
Colossus.
gonna say
Ico, Shadow of the Colossus.
Yep.
The Red
That for
Faction.
sure.
The Red Faction series was actually pretty impressive for the PS2. The whole
Yes.
destruction element.
Wouldn't get weird. Is it Digital Devil Saga? Pick that one up. Some of these you can still find brand new on Amazon, like Nocturne, Digital Devil Saga. Those are all brand new on Amazon. You can find still.
OJ really likes the Uzumaki Chronicles 1 and 2.
Oh God, quit.
this
You
whole
can go back
Persona
and play
on.
like, if you want to find out what the Ninja Storm series was beforehand. It was called, you can play those ones originally. They were 2D fighting games, like that were kind of like
Ultimate
Smash
Ninja
Brothers
series.
I like the Dragon Ball Z Budokai was good.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Budokai. There's also what was it? Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud is very
Dark Cloud.
good on there.
Mhm.
Yes,
Pro-
Dark Cloud
and if-
games are very good.
If you're into survival horror, the PS2 probably has still some of the best at the time, like the Silent Hill series. and all
Haunting
that.
Ground.
Yeah.
Haunting
Rule
Ground.
of Rose,
Cold Fear.
Cold Fear.
You got another Discord question, Evan?
Let's see. Which is better, or do you show more favoritism to Spider-Man PS4 or Spider-Man Miles Morales?
Good
Ooh.
question. I still think I like the first one more just because I didn't have the same like aha moment with Miles Morales, but I mean I might have that moment again with the next Spider-Man game, especially if they do things with like the Venom and the symbiote and all of that. But like when you first got that game on the PS4, it was like, all right, this is how Spider-Man is
Should
supposed to
feel.
be. Didn't have that feeling since the PS2 days with Spider-Man 2. Another game to
Yes.
pick up. That and like it was like that all over again. Miles Morales, it's great. It's just more of the same. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is good. That's probably why I lean more towards that original.
Like a bite-sized, like refined slice of what the bigger game, So
Yeah,
Yes.
the story was really well told. I think they handled Miles well too. But also, I like the what were the abilities called? Were they called Venom abilities?
His Venom sting? Or
The
whatever?
Venom, yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I liked the addition of that. I think it was a cool
Yeah.
twist. And instead of collecting suits, you just use the different abilities. So it was a good variation. But I agree with John. It's like the base game when you first launch into it. It's like whoa, and then Miles is like, as long as it kept the same feel and added some variation in it, it did its job.
All right, let's get into the big topic. Okay. Microsoft is set to acquire Activision Blizzard by mid 2023 at the latest. I mean, it could happen earlier. I mean, they might even try to get it done before the end of this year, I guess. But I don't know if taxes and stuff play into that. And they're like, look, we'll deal with that in 2024. Let's hold off till 2023 because I think the Bethesda deal, Rand, that got done earlier than we were expecting. I think that was like at the beginning.
Yeah, it was like March. It was like 6 months.
Yes. Yeah, so that got done a little earlier than like they had, like, because they usually give you the worst case scenario. They're like, all right, by the end of our fiscal year, this will be done, or the next fiscal year will be done. So it could get finished up by like the holidays, for example, or maybe they're like, look, we'll get it wrapped up in January, then we'll deal with taxes for it like the following fiscal year or something. But they are set to acquire them for $68.7 billion. All cash, which is absolutely ridiculous because people were checking like to see what Microsoft's like war chest, which is their cash on hand. It was like 160 some odd $1 billion last reported. So from what I've seen, that's that's close to half of all the money they had in the bank to buy Activision Blizzard. All the IPs, of course, and the studios that come with it.
You mean all the money that they're reporting that they have in the bank?
Yeah.
Because we all know they have more than that, right? There's no way that's all they have.
Well, you can have like a market cap. That's actually one of the highest. Like if you look at Apple, Amazon, Google, that's right up there with like the biggest cash purse.
I don't believe that. I believe it's a lot more than that.
Well,
they
like
have a lot more.
A lot of these companies like to hold assets and stuff because it's like, who knows what happens with the dollar. And like when you get to that kind of money, just a 0.001% is a massive swing for them. So in their mind, it's like, let's use the cash and put it into something. And they apparently it was Activision Blizzard. That's what they wanted. And it was surprising for me because of that. But like, obviously massive announcement. That was just out of nowhere. Did anyone see it coming? And what was everyone's initial reaction to this announcement?
I was checking to see if they bought me. I was checking to see if their essence was who's Bill Goldberg. Who's next, man? I thought they were. That's what, honestly, I checked to see who else. I thought there was going to be somebody else bought up. I'm like, they're going to buy up everybody. That's the first thing that I did when I woke up in the morning and saw that.
I couldn't believe it.
I was completely shocked.
Yep. Same.
You know what it felt like is I feel like someone's asked this as a Discord question like sometime last year.
Yes,
like
it's
what?
Definitely been asked.
It's been asked, and I think all of us were kind of like, like nah, kind of thing. Like that'd be wild, like in our wildest dreams, kind of thing. So when it actually happened, I was like, hot dang, the Discord questions were onto something. It's crazy.
It was. I mean, this is kind of almost that fun little thing. It's like, oh, what if they bought EA or Take-Two or Activision? And usually we'd be like, nah, that's too much. Because when they did Bethesda, that was $7.5 billion, and I don't even know if that was all cash. That might have been cash in stock. I'd have to double check. But either way, $7.5 billion. We were kind of like, all right, that's a lot of money to spend. 68.7 billion though. Like they're gonna write a check for this thing, and all of Activision, of course, all of their studios, their IPs, Call of Duty, everything comes with it. And it was certainly an announcement out of nowhere, just randomly in the morning.
Yeah.
And from there, a lot of questions have come out of this. And there's a lot to go over here, which is one of the reasons I've basically made this our sole topic tonight. Because when I started going through it and I checked a lot of my comment sections as I was going over these things, people were just asking questions. What happens to this? What about this? And how do you feel about that? So that's basically why I just wrote a bunch of them down, made sure some of the people on the podcast had them. So our initial reaction to the announcement, of course, and this is going to affect basically everyone in gaming when it comes to the companies, including Sony, to the point where Sony like had to get on the phone with Microsoft, apparently, like right away. I mean, Phil Spencer said he was on the phone or having calls with Sony like the day after this all went down.
Hey, look, dude, I made a video saying that, look, Microsoft purchased them and I bet Sony is livid, and people are like, you're fanboying. I'm like, no, Sony's probably livid right now. This is not like Call of Duty's their cash cow. They make so much from Call of Duty, and now that is under your competitor. You're livid, you're upset, you're angry. It's not like I would be angry if you know anything about business. You'd be angry if that happened to you. If you're making all this money, all of a sudden, oh, your competitor owns it. That's
we can go through here we go. Okay. So MPD results we had for December, which is, it's funny, we got that basically in the like around the same week or whatever. Top 10 selling video games, that's retail and digital for December 2021. Call of Duty Vanguard was number 1. If you go to the top 10 selling video games for all of 2021, the whole year, Call of Duty Vanguard was number 1. And remember, that came out in November. Mm-hmm. October, November. It was right in there. So basically it wasn't around for that long of the year. Still top number 1. Number 2, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War for all of 2021. 2 Call of Duty games. And I believe if you look at the split chart, which I'd have to double check on Matt's Twitter account, I believe that for Sony, their like top selling game is Call of Duty in general. If you just look at like for PlayStation,
there's 3 Call of Duties in the top 20, I think, for them.
Yeah, so it's pretty obvious that this hurts them. Yeah, okay, so top 20 video games for 2021 on PlayStation platforms. Number 1 is Call of Duty Vanguard. Number 3 is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Okay.
So it goes Call of Duty Vanguard, Madden 22, and then Black Ops Cold War. So 2 of the top 3 are Call of Duty games
I bet you Sony was freaked out.
Yeah.
Like completely freaked out. Because like
I
you
would
said,
be.
that's their cash cow. And I think Sony, in their breakdowns of where they make their most money, it's in microtransactions and DLC. And I guarantee you a lot of that comes from Call of Duty, you know, and to the point where like they came out and made a statement. Like when Microsoft bought Bethesda, Sony didn't say anything. You know, Jim kind of joked around about it. Was like, yeah, it makes sense for them. I want to know what's going to happen to the Bethesda games. But Sony was out there immediately because their stock tanked 15%, and they lost $20 billion in stock valuation, right? So I bet you they had emergency meetings. I bet you they're still having emergency meetings. I bet you their investors are going to pressure them in their investor meeting next month, and they're probably going to be like, you know what? This organic growth thing that you've been on, that's not going to fly anymore. Because if Microsoft's out here with the full weight of the entirety of Microsoft behind them,
right?
Who knows where this stops? Like, what if this goes through and then a year from now, Microsoft is like, yeah, you know what? We got Take-Two, so we own Grand Theft Auto now. So I bet you Sony's investors are probably like, you need to do something really, really soon.
So let me back up for 1 second here, because the Sony stuff we're going to get into with how they potentially could be responding. We'll see. But the thing that's interesting about this is more and more reports were coming out after like this whole thing broke, as people started to look into how this deal came about. And apparently Activision was looking to be bought. Like they were looking for the buyout, basically. And I don't know if that's Bobby Kotick, like, oh, this is my way out. If we get this done, I'll walk out the door with $400 million or whatnot, which it sounds like that's what's going to happen. And he went looking to Microsoft, and sounds like they had an offer for him. He also talked to Meta, which is Facebook.
He talked to Meta?
Yeah, that's the reportedly he talked to Meta. There were some other large companies that were being talked to, which
EA was interested, I think, is what I was reading.
Yeah, so if you start to think about the companies outside of gaming that could have been brought up, you think of companies on the level of Microsoft, that'd be Amazon, Google. I don't know if Tencent would have gotten involved with that. I'm not sure. But you think about those kind of companies, and it's like, okay, those companies could actually mess things up with Activision Blizzard. But that would then allow a company outside of gaming to then enter gaming immediately.
You don't think Microsoft could mess this up? They acquired Skype. I think
anyone can mess this up.
They acquired
Facebook will light this. Facebook or Google will light this thing up. Okay.
I mean, Microsoft has a history of acquiring companies for billions of dollars and screwing it up, or not doing anything, or maybe not giving it the right amount of, I don't know what the word is, but not treating them the right way. So this is not a slam dunk. I mean, we're assuming that it is, because it's Call of Duty and it's Diablo and it's Blizzard and it's Activision and it's Crash. But Microsoft really has a lot to prove with this acquisition. Like, this is not going to be the day that the deal is inked. They're just going to, just shoot to number 3, and then, it's going to be like all smooth sailing at that point. Sure. They have a lot to prove, and honestly, this isn't really going to bear fruit for probably 3 years.
It's going to be a while, yeah.
It's going to be quite a while before we actually start to see the benefit from this. So Microsoft has a lot to prove with this deal. This is not a slam dunk for them by any stretch.
The reason I'm willing to give them a benefit of the doubt for this so far, MVG, is because they did not screw up Minecraft.
True.
And I kind of feel like that would have been something that Microsoft would have screwed up, is Minecraft, but it's still just kind of rolling along. So they didn't take it off of platforms. They've supported it.
It's rolling along, but
they did a great job with Rare, though. Like, look at how many Banjo games we've gotten. Look at how many.
Hey, you know what?
They've done a fantastic.
I know people beat up Rare. Their most successful game was made underneath Microsoft. Let's Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I brought this up with you earlier, OJ, with this deal. I think at least where Phil is publicly excited with this kind of stuff is. Current Rare today is not the Rare that made these Banjo games, right? That the good majority, they've already went off and did other things, and
they're with other studios,
and they're making what they want to make now. It's not ever going to be the same, right? But now you have Toys for Bob, Vicarious Visions, Beanox, who do Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. That people are already championing them for people on that team who do want to work on a Banjo-Kazooie game. So these could be the right people who are currently making these platforming type games, these open world adventure and platforming type games. They're perfect for it. So I do see that as a good win to start using and utilizing a lot of the IPs they own, with now having more studios acquired.
Yep. Rare though, the Banjo thing is funny though, Ojix. You figure that they'd do more with that, especially after Banjo got into Smash and like all of a sudden Xbox was trending in Japan and all of this stuff out of nowhere. But they just
all the great Killer Instinct games they made. No, they've made.
Yeah, Killer Instinct is another weird one that they're having a hard time. Like it sounds like they want to do something with it, but they don't know how.
I'm just messing around. Yeah, like MVG saying, like it could be. We don't know what's gonna happen. Like, there's a lot of IPs here, man. There's like a ton of IPs here that they have now.
The other thing with this though, MVG, is do you really like how Activision was being run recently?
Oh, dude, Activision needed change, right? And I want to be very clear. I'm mostly, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic about this deal, right? Like, I don't want to say that I'm really happy about it, because Microsoft has a record of, not necessarily, like getting slam dunks.
We got to see how Starfield comes out.
Activision, exactly, and that's a great point. We have to see how Starfield comes out and see how the deal with Bethesda has really gone, because we haven't really seen anything yet, and this year is a big year for that. But look, Activision needed change. There's no question about it. Something had to change there, and Kotick just like stepping down, I don't think is enough, right? Because we've talked about this before, that the whole executive team, the whole board, is kind of full of just criminals. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of them have allegations and, all sorts of stuff that we've talked about before. So really, Microsoft coming in and basically taking them over and potentially, changing the culture of that company is a good thing, right? Like we want to see that. Like I think, if we really want to see change at Activision, then this is a good start. So yes, I absolutely, think that's the right approach, and I welcome, I absolutely welcome that for sure.
How are you going to call someone a criminal when you're wearing a bucket hat?
Shut up, Sean.
Leave him alone, Sean.
That was a valid question.
I was going to say this definitely puts a bullseye on Phil in a way that he probably has never had a bullseye on him before, because he's essentially taking on cleaning up Activision Blizzard on him and his team. I mean, his whole little thing in the press release was the Activision Blizzard business will report to me.
Yeah, that was pretty serious.
Microsoft Gaming. So yeah, like MVG says, like I think this. Who knows how the future shakes out? Microsoft has screwed things up in the past, undoubtedly. It looks like most of their gaming acquisitions under Phil have actually been pretty good, or at least managed well enough. Now, if this was Don Matrick or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I don't know about this. But I'm very optimistic that I think we see Activision Blizzard turn around. But I think that turnaround, just like with Xbox in general, where Xbox was in a bad shape for years, and then it took Phil years to turn the ship around, I think it's probably going to take the same thing. It's going to be, you're not going to see a lot of fruit or a lot of changes immediately. Overnight. It's going to take years to change the ship, but I think they'll get it done. I think it's going to be a good thing.
Sean, what was your immediate reaction? We talked about our immediate reaction to waking up. Microsoft's purchasing Activision Blizzard. What was your thought immediately looking at Twitter?
Wow. I didn't really know. I pretty much saw it. I don't know why I woke up, because usually I sleep in. I woke up early though, and I saw it. I was like, wow, I need to make a video. There are bags to be secured. So
you got on trending.
I got on trending. That was awesome. But yeah, it was definitely shocking, but I think now we're at a point where you have to, I think, almost expect things like this from Microsoft. It's not like this is the first time they've bought a company. I mean, they bought Mojang, they bought Rare, they bought Bethesda and all those properties. So, obviously two of those things didn't quite get the same amount of press as this did, because I feel like the internet's grown a lot since then, with things like social media becoming more popular, YouTube becoming more popular. But yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy to see, but I mean, that's how business works.
Yeah. It's it shocked everyone, obviously. But what was your take on Sony dropping like 20% the next day? You think they were, because it sounded like they were on the phone immediately to Microsoft.
I mean, it's to be expected, because of the fact that this kind of stuff always happens. You know, if a company doesn't hit the mark with a system sold or how many systems they thought they were going to sell, you know, stocks will drop. Stocks are a very volatile thing to begin with anyway. So me personally, I'm not looking like too far into that. Sony's obviously going to rebound once, you know, PS5 sales numbers come in or anything like that. Sure. So they'll be fine. But, you know, I do think that Sony is now paying a bit more attention to what's happening here. I feel like Sony fans in general are kind of wondering, like, you know, what's next? Because, you know, obviously, like you were saying at the start of the show, you know, this deal probably at the absolute earliest would go through in holiday 2022. More than likely, it'll be finalized in 2023. So the implications, you know, this isn't a company like Bethesda where they don't, you know, even Bethesda and all their subsidiaries, they don't really release games all that often. So it's not something that will be felt immediately once the ink is dry. But I feel like in 2 years, it's going to be very interesting. You know, 2-3 years, it's going to be very interesting to see what's actually happening, what games are or are not coming to certain platforms.
We were just mentioning Sony. Let's talk about why Sony was a bit concerned, because I mentioned Call of Duty earlier. Is NPDs, you know, that the top NPD was Call of Duty. Number 2, Sean,
was Call
of Duty again. And obviously those are big franchises for Sony, because they legitimately sell best on PlayStation.
Right.
Just overall. So looking at this, does Call of Duty go exclusive to Xbox in, I don't not the next iteration, obviously, because Microsoft won't own them yet, in 2023 and 2024, if ever?
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Warzone will be. Phil Spencer saying that Call of Duty is still going to be on PlayStation.
Oh, hold on. Let me get Phil Spencer here. Let me pull up his tweet, okay? Because this, I gotta admit, this got a lot of people. I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of people were like, okay, well, that answers that. And I'm like, man, Phil, he must be. I don't know if he ran that by a bunch of people and like they were getting the thesaurus out and trying to make sure it was just right, like the vagueness. It says, had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry and we value our relationship.
Yep.
Yeah,
you said it right there. You said it right there.
No.
Existing.
Yeah, I was gonna say existing.
Call of Duty.
Dude, if you look at the responses to this, it's incredible. People really think that's like, well, that's it. All right, cool. Call of Duty's gonna be on PlayStation.
Well, first off, it's
you
Twitter,
look at who's commenting, and they're like, "Whoa, wow."
No, I mean, people were like, "Oh, it's good to hear that Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation."
The thing about it though is that people don't speak or they don't listen in a business mindset.
No.
As somebody myself that's been inside business with these executives, then every type of executive, you have the hard ass Jim Ryan executive, you have the nice guy executive. They're all the same. They all want to secure as much money as possible. Capitalistic business. I'm not trying to say he's evil or anything like that, but to sit there and act like Phil Spencer isn't going to look into at some point certain Call of Duty stuff being exclusive, maybe even exclusive campaign or extra content, and then when those contracts run up, they're not going to sit there and, oh, let's just put it on PlayStation and we have no advantage. They're going to do, there's going to be exclusive Call of Duty. There's going to be exclusive Crash. They're going to look at things and it's going to be an individual case by case basis. But I see them maybe putting Warzone, you know?
Yeah.
You know, keeping Warzone, but the campaigns what's the point of putting campaign on PlayStation? I guess you can sell it, but isn't that more attractive if you have it on Game Pass?
I mean,
To sub as a Call of Duty is one of the biggest franchises in the world. That's way more attractive if you just have it on Game Pass. And if you get, let's just say 7 or 8 million subs from people having it, you can only play it on Xbox. He's going to give that up. I highly doubt that that's going to happen.
I feel like people are kind of forgetting the thing though. Like, I feel like it comes up a lot when Nintendo is brought up, but like the whole thing of like they're a company and they don't really care about us specifically, and like they're not like just because Phil made that statement, people are like, oh, like thank you, Phil, bless you, Phil, and it's like, bro, he's literally gonna do what makes them money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth of it. So, people ask, is this, good for gaming? Is this not? And it's like, well, they're going to do what's best for them. And then they're expecting us as the consumer to mold to them. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to work around our itinerary.
This deal was done to gain more market share. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, they're going to take care of themselves, which is what they're supposed to do, right? Yeah. So I don't think we'll see Call of Duty on PlayStation after the existing contracts have been fulfilled. Now, the thing is, we don't know how long those contracts are. We're assuming that it's Warzone and this year's game, but Sony may have a deal with Call of Duty for the next 10 years. We don't know what that looks like. So we may see more titles, Call of Duty titles on Sony, because contractually they have to release them, right? So we don't really know when that contract period actually ends. We're all assuming that it's going to end like next year, but it could run for another couple of years after that. We just don't know.
I was thinking like 2 or 3 years. That's what I was thinking. Like they have the next, like maybe they locked up some exclusivity, like like the marketing rights and all that, like the next few years with PS5. So that's what I was thinking.
I was on here when the Bethesda acquisition went through, right? And you guys we were talking about acquisitions, and I said 100% the Bethesda games would be exclusive.
I said that too. I said Starfield would just be exclusive.
And I think Nate was like, he was kind of like 50-50, but I knew for sure that the Bethesda games would be exclusive because people were telling me that. But with this, I honestly don't know, because
why is this different, Rand?
I think they might run into regulator issues. I think they want this deal to go through no matter what. And I think if there's a chance that it doesn't go through because regulators will say you can't remove Call of Duty from PlayStation because that would be anti-competitive, then they'll probably gladly keep it on PlayStation forever. Because when you look at what else they got, and nobody talks about this because it's not sexy, they got King. They got Candy Crush.
Oh my God.
That's huge, though.
Yeah.
That is big.
I talked about Candy Crush today. I said they got Candy because some people were trying to say, "Oh, this doesn't mean much." Oh, Activision, nobody cares. Blah blah. I'm like, dude, that's ridiculous. They bought them for $70 billion. Like there's a lot there. It's not just Call of Duty.
Candy Crush revenue in 2020 was $1.2 billion.
Yep.
So me and Jez had heard, if you go listen to the podcast before this all happened, so like last Friday, me and Jez were saying, when people were asking us about Xbox acquisitions, we were like, they're going to happen this year, but they may not be sexy, because we were both hearing that Microsoft was going to pursue a mobile publisher at some point. And nobody cares about that. We didn't know it would be King and but so you get King and you get your mobile presence. So you go from 0 mobile presence to the 4th biggest, only behind Tencent and NetEase, and I forget who's 3rd. And then you get Blizzard. You get a very talented, used to be very talented PC developer with an incredible legacy to help build your PC platform and PC Game Pass with the stuff they're doing. Like, if it requires them to keep Call of Duty multi-platform, it doesn't matter because of the other 2 things they get with the deal, right? And my buddy Jez Corden had a 4D chess move MVG on the show. He thinks Call of Duty be forever multi-platform. They're basically going to Minecraft it. I'm of the opinion that Warzone's going to be multi-platform and Call of Duty in the future will go exclusive. But his reasoning is that Microsoft wants a strong PlayStation and a strong Nintendo. And Phil kind of talked about it in that Washington Post article. Because if you do go take the drastic measure of removing Call of Duty, maybe that gives an opening to an Apple to buy PlayStation if their stocks drop enough, right? Or somebody comes in to buy Nintendo, and now Microsoft's true competitors, Apple, Google, Tencent or whatever, then they start making the big plays. So it's almost in Phil's best interest and Microsoft's best interest to keep Sony and Nintendo strong, so they can kind of dominate in that space. I don't know. That's what Jez's 4D chess move is.
Here's why that makes more sense than you guys may realize, Rand, is because Microsoft has done that before, and they've actually been very public about it. This was late 90s, when they invested, this was Microsoft, invested $150 million in Apple stock because Apple was in trouble. And Microsoft realized if Apple went away, then they would legitimately be looked at as like a monopoly. So they actually kept Apple around, which is really funny to look back on now because they are a little concerned about Apple because of the mind share that they have. But there's a chance that if they did not do that, Apple would not be around right now. So it wouldn't shock me if they're like, well, we kind of need PlayStation to stick around because then it would be viewed as like some sort of monopoly over like the gaming space. But that's why that kind of makes sense, Rand, is because they've done it before. But I think what their play here is right now is that Call of Duty and all these other properties are Game Pass exclusives. Yep. And they go, you know what? Sony's right. We're going to go ahead and port Game Pass over to PlayStation. We have no choice. We're just going to go ahead and do that.
No. There's no way. There is no way Game Pass will end up on PlayStation.
But MVG,
no way.
They do it that way. They try to explain to the old people on Capitol Hill, like, this is how it works. I mean, Call of Duty can't be on there otherwise. These new ones, it's got to go with Game Pass. And then Sony goes, well, we don't want Game Pass, and Microsoft goes, well,
we tried.
We did our best. I mean, we really tried. We're going to put all this stuff on. It'd be great, but Sony doesn't want it. I don't know what to tell you. And that's it.
That may well be the case, but Sony's not going to bend the knee and put Game Pass on this.
I don't think they will either. But if Microsoft keeps doing this, I mean, what do you do eventually? Like, Microsoft just strong-armed their way to getting Game Pass on there.
I mean, look at the ARM Nvidia deal that still hasn't gone through yet. There are many ways to delay a merger.
That's true.
Of this caliber, right? This is a $70 billion deal. This is the biggest in Microsoft's history. This is unprecedented. If you guys think that this is going to go through at the end of this year, you're kidding yourselves. This is going to get
mid next year.
It's already been at the end of, and well, they're talking about like they want to get it done by the end of this year and like the middle of next year or something, right?
Yeah, their end of their fiscal year 23, which is July of next year. They want it done by.
There are already regulators sniffing around on this deal. This deal is going to get investigated, scrutinized, pulled through so many different hoops. It's unbelievable. I think Sony, they're probably going to just try to delay this as much as they can. I mean, there is so many eyes on this deal that, you know, I think this is going to take a lot longer than what we normally. What we think is going to actually happen here. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this deal. So,
you don't think Microsoft's got some bags for the regulators then?
I mean, they might. But,
There's anything we learned about this kind of stuff over the last 20 years?
Microsoft has been in trouble with antitrust before. They have a history of it as well. So, I mean, in one way, they know how to deal with it. But another way, they've been in trouble with this stuff before. So, you know, I think this is going to be a really interesting next 18 months.
I kind of feel like they believe it's going to go through, and that's why they announced it. I feel like if they were like, "Ooh, this might not go through," they wouldn't.
Politics is all bullshit, anyways. It's who you know, whose pockets you're lining, and I mean, if they're confident enough to say, "Hey, we bought these motherfuckers." Yeah, I think it's going through.
They might have something on somebody over there, you know, like it's going through is what they're thinking. And I don't know, maybe they can wordsmith their way. I mean, he may put out a tweet and convinced half of Twitter. So, I mean, you never know. They could make it happen.
Half of who?
Half of Twitter.
Oh, Twitter.
Yeah. Convinced half of Twitter. Let's Evan, we got a Discord question over there. We're gonna come back to a few other things here with Activision.
Yeah, we got barely a couple related to this. Would you want to see Guitar Hero come back after this acquisition?
This is what we were gonna get into, were the IPs. Okay, this is fun. You know what? Let's go into that now, actually, and we're gonna come back to Sony here in a bit. Let's go over what Phil said in an interview with Washington Post. Gene Park, by the way, had this interview. Good for Gene Park. Go check it out. That he starts talking about old IPs. This guy brings up Hexen. That's like Windows 98 stuff. What is this about here?
I want Hexen.
This is like old Windows. Like you could now turn off your PC Windows, you know, when you go to shut it down. And he's talking about Guitar Hero. He name dropped that. I was a little surprised on that one, that he was like, "Oh, Guitar Hero. Let's talk about that." For some reason, Hexen came up and several other IPs. So what are we bringing back? Because Microsoft is like, they might not even do a yearly Call of Duty anymore for all we know. They might be like, let's get variety going here. Let's go crazy.
Lost Vikings.
What? Oh wow, jeez. All right.
Oh my god.
Bill Spencer's gonna find out very quick that doing this variety thing and bringing back IPs is not the business is gonna, he's gonna find out very quick not doing Call of
Game
Duty.
Pass. They need like 6 releases a year or something. Is what they're thinking.
Not doing Call of Duty every year, bringing back Guitar. Remember, Guitar Hero tanked because they ran it into the freaking ground.
That did get run into the ground pretty bad.
They just ran that franchise into the. They were releasing it every year.
It was a lot.
Every year, it was just like you got to rebuy different type. It was just so.
We're all forgetting one of the biggest parts of this acquisition, though.
What's that?
Of the Activision and all the subsidiaries, Sierra. You know, we're gonna have, I think, the rise of Sierra Games, and who knows, Metal Jesus might go back.
Wait a minute.
The Lighthouse.
You're saying we could get a new Metal Arms?
I don't really know what Sierra's ever made.
I think that had Sierra's logo on the front. Someone look at the box art. I'm pretty sure Sierra's logo.
And they still make
Metal Arms,
Larry.
right? Metal Arms. We can get Metal Arms.
Sierra did a lot of point and clicks.
Oh no, I just remember Sierra's logo. I think was on the front. Metal Arms. Let's do Metal Arms. No, all right. What are we bringing back?
One idea that I've thought about, and I'm not trolling, is bring back Pitfall, but make it more of a Uncharted style game.
I like that idea. That's cool. That'd be a fun one, actually.
With some cool kind of rope mechanics and stuff. That I think that'd be really, really awesome.
For all we know, that could be the Indiana Jones game Bethesda is doing.
Could get rebranded.
Does this mean they could have could they do like a Pitfall Easter egg then in Indiana Jones? Do some DLC for it? Maybe Indy meets up with what's
the Pitfall?
What's the name? Pitfall Harry?
Pitfall Harry.
Yeah, meeting up with him in DLC or something.
All this cool stuff you guys are talking about isn't going to happen.
Hey, you talked about Hex and anything's possible.
Are you saying I won't get my Halo Call of Duty crossover?
All right, Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and say it. Let's hear it.
Is there a certain thing you want me to say?
Let's hear it. What do you want to come back, Jordan? Or
Chameleon Twist is a Chameleon Twist.
Go back to, I
do
should
your
say.
punchline.
because they took Toys Rob off to work on Call of Duty. What do you want them to go back to?
I mean, there's only one true answer, and that's for Spyro 4 to finally be made and finished.
Let's do it. Let's get it done.
Spyro 4 is happening. Crash 5 is happening. It'd be great if they could happen a lot faster. It was really disappointing when they said, "Hey, go make Warzone." Like, no, why would you have this company go work on Warzone when they're doing great with the other stuff?
Yeah, I know.
I want everyone's opinion on this, Jordan. I want your opinion too.
No,
what comes first? Banjo, Crash, Spyro. Which one? New game.
Spyro. Well, there might be another Crash game that's like there, but I do think Spyro deservedly needs to be next. There's been too many Crash games in a row. There needs to be a Spyro interjection. So
I hope you get that Spyro game. I hope you get it.
We're gonna get it.
A Banjo, Crash, and Spyro game in the same game.
Skylanders.
Crossover.
Skylanders. They would make a Skylanders game, right? They own Skylanders now, so maybe
they do. They do.
I will only accept Spyro and Crash meeting up again like they did once on the Game Boy, but those games weren't great. But I would accept them meeting again because there's Easter eggs that could kind of connect their universes. But no, Banjo doesn't need to be in there. I mean, Banjo's fine, but it doesn't need to be with.
Sounds like
Crash
a racer to me.
They ran Skylanders into the ground as well. That's also the difference. They ran.
And that's something they want to do again. You want to bring some toys to life?
The first Skylanders was great. The first couple were actually pretty good. I played those with my daughter.
They're fine.
Do you think there's still a market for it though?
I don't know if they have to make it a normal game.
They can't make it toy based.
Just make it a normal game. We don't need all the toy stuff.
Activision has run pretty much everything into the ground except for Call of Duty, right? So you know, some decisions have to be made. Like they've bought how many? Was it 32 studios, whatever it is? I mean, something outrageous. Like they have so many studios. They have to look at this again and say, okay, we have to start thinking about, maybe, reactivating some of these dead franchises. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. The status quo will stay the same. They definitely don't want to do that. And Phil, I don't believe, wants to continue with the way Activision is doing business right now. So I think they will start to look at some of their past franchises. And I don't want to say they're just going to, give us a huge surge of games immediately, but I think they're going to start
We're
bringing them back slowly over time.
It'd be better to have one Call of Duty over 3 years and just add DLC and extra content to that one Call of Duty or something. I don't know if we still need a Call of Duty every single year with Warzone and then another Call of Duty next to it.
They might just have Treyarch and Infinity Ward make Call of Duty, pull Sledgehammer off, pull Beanox off, and like pull Toys for Bob off, and like have Toys for Bob. I think Toys for Bob probably make a Banjo game.
They'd be. I think they'd be very good at it.
Perfect for it. Like I was saying, like give them the opportunity to make it. They're the ones making those type of games and doing it well.
That's a really tough ask though, because Call of Duty is just
exactly
right.
The thing is MVG said, their Activision's been running everything to the ground, and the Vanguard was running to the ground. It's still super popular, but now Microsoft has invested in it, and it's up to them to make sure that Call of Duty's popularity doesn't wane. So you have to kind of like take steps to protect your investment. And if that is to like, okay, we're gonna rein it back. We're gonna make sure that you have time to make these, and we're not pushing them out. I mean, look at what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed. It was yearly until the sales started to taper off, and then like, well, we can't do this anymore. And then they started to do like a release every 2 years, and Valhalla just came out, was like the biggest ever. So it might be in Microsoft's best interest to remove it from the yearly release.
And now it's turning into a live service game, right? Like there's this whole like Assassin's Creed live service thing going on. So who knows? But I like the idea of them taking Activision and making them more creative immediately. Like, what do you guys want to work on? You want to do a new Pitfall that looks like Uncharted? Sure, go ahead and do that. Or do you want someone want to make Hexen? Go ahead and do that. I just get creative. Variety for the sake of variety for Game Pass. I like that idea.
I think as long as
apparently somebody does.
Night Dive wants to remake it. What to
make
it?
Okay, here we go. All right, and Phil,
we'll take the job. It's available.
Let's go.
Phil, if you're listening, let's talk.
Oh, what were you saying, Click?
I was just saying, I think as long as Daddy's money that got all of this to be acquired allows the creativity to flourish, as long as that extends beyond just what we see now. Again, it will take time, but I think as long as we actually see the result of, listen, here are the resources, we know what you can do it, like that'll be great too. But also at the same time, you do have to realize, like, I'll be really surprised to see what they do with Call of Duty, because not only does it, there is a lot of a huge casual fan base too, but it is perhaps one of the most, I think, scrutinized among streamers / creators. A lot of those people live, breathe nothing but Call of Duty. And that is a huge market for them, because they know some of the top streamers only play Call of Duty, and then they'll branch out to games every now and then. So they're going to have to keep a really good connection with those community members as well, because they're very vocal about it. And we know how it goes a lot of times, is if a creator says something good or bad, a lot of the community will follow with what they say. And I think they're going to have to do well to keep those bridges not burned if they do choose to focus on other games. Because there are a lot of those creators that, we talk about all these franchises we want to see back because we have a very varied base. Some people, Call of Duty is their lifeblood. And if anything is changed about it, because franchises that we want to see come back to life, they're going to get pretty upset about it. So I think it's going to be a tough scale to balance, but I am really intrigued to see how it works. But again, it's only in time.
The other thing, go ahead, Jet. Go ahead,
I was just going to say, what's kind of crazy to think about is if this deal happened 2 years ago, they would have owned Destiny as well.
True. True.
I've thought about that, Rand, that would get Bungie back.
Are you sure they don't own Destiny? Has anybody checked on that? They haven't.
Anyone checked in on Destiny?
Can somebody check on them?
About to turn it on, and it's just like the Xbox logo is like.
Bro, I wouldn't be surprised if in a little bit they own who makes it, Bungie or who
Bungie? Bungie. Bungie's coming home.
If they buy back Bungie or whatever.
How many billions does Bungie want?
Too many.
So
I think Nate was like kicking around a number a while ago with it, but it's too much.
But isn't this also like right place, right time for Microsoft? Like a lot of extraneous circumstances, because just a year ago, before all the bad publicity and what was going on with the lawsuits, Activision's stock price is $105. Microsoft's buying them for $95.
That's true.
Right? So like, if that stuff doesn't happen, then this doesn't happen, because Microsoft ain't buying that company for $160 a share, right? And even with Bethesda, that only happened because I think Robert Altman was sick and he wanted to get out and sell his company. So you look at these two things that really helped out Microsoft, but it's just kind of like if this was happened 5 years ago, Phil doesn't have that cachet within Microsoft to make this purchase, right?
Right.
So it's just, I don't know, it's just like a confluence of things. Just, I mean, it's obviously horrible what happened at Activision Blizzard to drop the stock price because of all the bad things that Bobby Kotick and his crew were doing, but in the end, it seems like Microsoft will benefit. So it's like right place, right time for them.
Well, it's also that situation. It seems like, I mean, we have reports now coming out that morale is raising a bit. They're hopeful because of it. So, I mean, I know people.
Yeah, but the one part of this that you don't read about is that there's probably a group of people. I'm not saying it's a large percentage, but there are people out there that are probably scared shitless they're going to get fired.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to
absolutely.
lose their jobs, or they're going to close studios, right? Like we're assuming that all these studios are going to just shuffle in, right? But they may end up consolidating some studios.
I mean, we've already seen Activision do that, though. Like, where'd Vicarious Visions go? They're at Blizzard. They merged them into Blizzard, and then apparently some of them.
I guess what I'm saying is,
are they still alive? Or the people has anybody checked on the
problem is, like, Vicarious Visions made Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. That was a good game. I'm like, this is incredible. We're gonna keep going. They're like, oh nope, you're gonna go to Blizzard and make sure Diablo 2 gets out on time. And they're like, all right, cool. And the word is, they just slowly started erasing Vicarious Visions off of people's name tags, basically. And then it's like, you're Blizzard now. It's like, oh, okay. So I'd like to hear that they come back, they reform, and they put them on Tony Hawk. Or they are the ones who did a lot of work with Guitar Hero.
How well did Tony Hawk do? And that's a real question. Did it do well?
Best-selling Tony Hawk game in history.
It did extremely well. It did really, and then it did well again on Switch when it was re-released. It did well on Switch again. But yeah, it did surprisingly well. But it was lower priced. You got 2 games. It was great online multiplayer that works on all the systems. So yeah.
And back before that game came out, like when speaking with people close to the project, there was a big incentive that like if this game does well, like games like Underground are guaranteed to be worked on next for a remake, So I don't know where that really leaves it up to anymore. Like, are they going to be able to go back and make those games now? Is that deal still on the table for them to go? And I mean, if you make the best selling Tony Hawk game, why would you not continue to make Tony Hawk games? That just seems stupid. It seems like a no-brainer that they were guaranteed and promised something that they haven't been able to work on.
Yep.
Why is MVG wearing a bucket hat? Thanks, Sean.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So real quick, before I go to the super chats, is Call of Duty in 2024, is that a Game Pass exclusive? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If the contract is
Contracts.
Yeah.
Provided everything goes through.
I guess we won't know, right? Like we're not going to be told the contract has been fulfilled, so now it's I mean, we'll know the contract is done when Call of Duty is exclusive to Game Pass. So yeah,
I think what they'll still do in the interim is they'll put yearly Call of Duties on Game Pass and be like, look, you can go and buy it full price on PlayStation, or you can just get Game Pass and it's on there.
But Click is right. Like look at Halo right now. Halo is in rough shape right now.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest. It is in really rough shape. Like John, Sean, and I, we play almost every night, and right now we're like, I think we're over this game now because there's literally nothing happening right now
except for skins and cosmetics.
If they screw up Call of Duty in the same way they've done Halo, then it's gonna be bad.
Well, 343 is not making Call of Duty, so
I think
I know that
you know of.
why is no one I feel like is even mentioning things like Mixer?
I mentioned it. At the start. Like
no, I know.
Important thing.
I think you and John were talking at the same time, so it like muted each other, like kind of canceled out, so we didn't get to hear it. But like Mixer was like, what they kind of just they could have had something, but I think the way that they approached it was kind of like, what are you doing kind of thing. It was a very lazy approach. So I am a little worried. And it's like, I didn't even know for a while, but they had also bought things like LinkedIn and stuff. And LinkedIn has a lot of potential.
LinkedIn was $20 billion or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think it was one of their biggest at the time too. But it's almost like what has it really done? Like, unless I know very few specific people who preach about things like LinkedIn, like it's not necessarily something like they could be doing so much more with it. So that's kind of like why when MVG brought it up, I agree with him in the sense of like, we got to see what they do with it, but also the track records, I guess you could say 50-50.
It is such a different, sorry, real quick, because I used to be technical recruiter, so I would use LinkedIn quite a bit. So it was very helpful for that. I would just say LinkedIn.
I will say that most of these acquisitions like Skype and LinkedIn and all that stuff, Mixer probably wasn't. Mixer maybe was Satya. Rand was Mixer Satya. But what I'm getting at is Steve Ballmer was involved with most of those older acquisitions. So Satya seems like he's a lot more level-headed and a lot smarter as far as his stuff goes. And I think I like him a lot more than Steve Ballmer. So I think really this is Satya's real first kind of, big merger and acquisition as far as I know. So, I am definitely, again, cautiously optimistic about this one. But Microsoft does have a history of running these mergers into the ground and not doing anything with them. So, it does remain to be seen how this one goes for them for sure.
They should have never bought Beam and turned it into Mixer. That was just chasing after Twitch, and they couldn't get Twitch.
The tech was really good, I heard. Like, the tech was the reason why they bought it. They just
strategy
didn't really
was terrible, though.
Yeah,
They
the strategy was
two
miserable.
people $10 billion.
Well, I mean, they did the same. They've kind of done the same approach they do with everything else. They just buy things and expect it to make money for them. Like, you can't just buy a creator. Yeah, sure, they're getting support and they're living their life. That's fine, but you have to do something beyond just buying someone out and expecting it just to run normally and people to follow suit. Like, that's just not how it goes. You got to fix the viewer experience. You got to fix the UI. You got to fix the in-house culture, like how are things cultivated? How do communities interact with each other? There's just so much they could have done, and instead they're like, no, we'll just throw like 50 million at one individual and hope that other people follow them just because they're sheep.
Yep.
It was atrocious.
They tried it.
They did.
Let's go to some of the super chats here. Big says, I play all consoles but not COD. Leave the Activision Blizzard. I love the Activision Blizzard deal and hope COD goes exclusive, in my opinion. Sony's been coasting and I want them to fight tooth and nail again.
Can I say something real quick on that?
Damn,
if there's one
personal.
good thing about this, maybe Sony says, okay, Killzone.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that. Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Yep, I got that next topic. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to speak on that because I was a fan of SOCOM back in the day. So
I got a good take on SOCOM. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Shepard says, I dare you to get Phil Spencer, Doug Bowser, and Jim Ryan on the Spawncast for one night of all things gaming, answering our burning questions. I got them scheduled for next weekend. Okay. Chaos says, I'm more excited that developers can go back making their own games instead of being another COD support team. And let's see. Patrick says, any chance of getting thoughts on PlayStation in 2022 for this stream? Hey, guess what we're about to talk about? Is what PlayStation's probably maybe going to be doing here in a bit. Let's see. Zaid says, for Click, after playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which was your favorite game? Which of the Mass Effect games?
Ooh. I think overall, mainly because of how high impact it was, I'd say 2. I think 2 is like going to be widely praised. Just alone, like the suicide mission itself it was really cool. Especially like I got like a really good run of the suicide mission, so it was like really cool hearing everybody's.
But that's okay.
How did I cheat?
No, you cheated.
Oh, Jay, you always got a problem with something, man. I tell you. But it was the fact that, like, literally, there's so many different results that come out of just that mission alone, and hearing everybody's different experiences. Someone's like, "Oh, I killed myself." It's like, how the heck did you even do that? And they're like, "Oh, I made a decision like way back in like the first game." It's a work of art. I thought it was really, really cool.
Cristobal says, enjoyed OJ's pre-show with Jordan and RGT's Who TF as well. Being a fan of many genres, I appreciate insights on movies, TV shows, cartoons, and anime. Alan says, Valve brought back Half-Life to sell their VR. What if PlayStation makes an exclusive Silent Hill for VR 2 and no regular version?
Stop it.
Ace says, if Sony had bought Activision, how would you feel? I'd be very impressed if they were able to offer that much cash. I'll say that.
They had no money in the bank.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. I was Chaos says, welcome back, Rand. You got to remember, it was Microsoft who bought Activision. Not necessarily like Xbox wasn't just like, we're going to buy them. It was Microsoft had to make sure they were good on doing that. Yes, welcome back, Rand. That's from Chaos. Burst says, Jordan and OJ, are you two ready to school the others on Iowa trivia?
Yes.
Joe says, doesn't Japan have laws in place to prevent companies like Microsoft from buying Sega or Bandai Namco, etc.? I hope they don't buy them.
They do have laws in place for American companies trying to buy out Japanese companies. Yes, there are laws in place.
Elliot says, do you think Xbox will bring Activision Blizzard's retro collection to the store, like Tony Hawk's Underground and such? If they get some of the soundtracks for that might be a bit, if it's always the music stuff that gets thrown in there and the likenesses that can really mess things up. So I think they said as soon as the deal goes through, they're going to work to get as much of the library in as they can. But I mean, some stuff will probably just have to be left behind because of likenesses and music. So
I do think, just a quick sidebar, I think that even though Jason Reynolds said no more backward compatibility, I feel like this opens up the conversation again.
Sierra games
to bring some stuff.
Gosh. I think you're right. I think they all of a sudden are like, oh, that's a lot of games we could bring over now. So maybe they go back and they're like one more ride or something until Microsoft buys like Sega or some other big company, something else, and they're like, oh, we're back at it. Liam says, is Nate still in the cast? He is. He's just been busy, quite busy, but we'll get him back at some point.
We kill them and bury his body in the woods.
This is from Christian saying, do you guys think Sega will ever bring Phantasy Star Portable to the Switch to compete with Monster Hunter Rise? Also, where's Ninja Turtles?
Phantasy Star Portable?
Fantasy Star Portable.
PSP?
I'm going to say probably
no. And I don't think that competes with Monster Hunter. I mean, Phantasy Star is great, but it doesn't compete. It's not up to the level of Monster Hunter, at this point.
Monster Hunter's turned into like the mainstream phenomenon. They've been trying to make it for a long time. Like after Monster Hunter World and now Rise, it's off to the races for that franchise. Joe says, MVG, do you know of any way of dealing with scope storage on NVIDIA Shield? Android 11 broke a lot of stuff, and I can't be the only unhappy one. That's very specific.
I do not. I was thinking about the Shield the other day. NVIDIA needs to bring out an update to the Shield. It's been a couple of years.
I have that image of you just like sitting somewhere and be like, NVIDIA Shield.
That's pretty much how it went. Evan.
Humdrum says, StarCraft Ghosts to Coalition, StarCraft to World's Edge, Killer Instinct, Cross, Xbox, Bethesda, Active Blizzard, Heroes of the Storm Revival, but with Xbox, Bethesda. A wish list being made now. Interesting.
Hear me out. How about Coalition? After they do Gear 6, they do StarCraft Ghost.
Ooh.
Yes.
I would be interested in that. Yeah. Okay.
Which reminds me, isn't Ron Ferguson? He's back.
Right? And Ron Ferguson are back at Xbox.
What do you think Mike Ybarra's reaction was to that?
Smiley face.
He probably like, as soon as this stuff clears and I get my check, I'm bouncing to Nintendo.
Yep.
Yeah. His reaction was a smiley face. Like that's what he put on Twitter. He just put a little smiley face. Yeah, little emoji. That was his reaction.
Was there like a crying face behind that too? Like, with the mask?
It was, I think it was like a little drip face. I think it was like a little drip face or something like that. I forgot exactly what emoji it was. Oh, man. It was like a sarcastic kind of like emoji. Like, oh, well, here we go. It was like a, here we go again. Like CJ or something. I don't know.
MG, do you think with StarCraft so prominently featured in that image, do you think we see StarCraft come back?
Yes. Yes. I don't know in what fashion, but yes.
Yeah, I walked away, but I 1000% want to agree. Heroes of the Storm Revival to that super chat, please. I love that game. And then Ghost,
won't happen.
For sure. Justice for Nova.
Damn it, Evan.
Deathblow says, why does Max always get sick after a Microsoft acquisition?
Makes him sick to his stomach.
Villain says, do you think World of Warcraft will be integrated into Game Pass somehow? Maybe an extra $5 a month or something?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know how, but they'll make it work somehow.
You think they'll get that on Xbox? Like on console?
Yep.
Interesting.
Crazy. How big would that file be?
Well, they got Final Fantasy 14 on PlayStation.
You can plug a mouse and keyboard into an Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they have you do it, it'd be crazy trying to click on your abilities with a controller. Just like, oh god.
I mean,
Final Fantasy 14 is played very heavily on the PS5 and PS4.
Do we think Activision Blizzard games come to Steam then, or do they stay on Battle.net?
They crushed that. They crushed that launcher, right? You think they get rid of it?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, they're putting all their Xbox games on Steam. I mean,
why not?
That's a good question. I mean, Battle.net's been around since forever.
It makes me kind of sad to think about it going away.
Right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Ace says, need classic DS games. Where should I look? eBay? Probably. Unless you have like a secondhand shop around you. Like sometimes you'll see them
buy
pop
one
up
of those
pawn shops.
301 cartridges on Amazon. It costs about $40.
If you want actual games, though, there's this site called Whatnot, and you can get $10 for free. And there's lots of auctions on there. That's actually what I was just doing on my phone. Use that link that I just put in the chat, and you get $10 for free. You're welcome.
Oh, gosh.
Hashtag ad.
Andrew says, I'm in the early stages of building a high-end PC and have seen PS4 value soar. I'm considering selling my PS4 Pro for parts. Is there any reason to hold on to it since my PS5 is backwards compatible?
I don't know if you'll be able to sell a PS4 for enough money that you need for some of these parts.
I mean, you can get a good price for them.
Yeah, PS4s are going for like $300 some odd dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how much is a graphics card?
That's not going to be a part. That's what, like a fifth of a pre-build?
Yeah, but it could put $300 on top of the budget. I mean, that's not bad.
So it gives him a little bit of, gives him something. If he's not going to use the PS4 anymore,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, now is the time to sell it because I don't think it's going to go any further up in value. I think this is it. So I would think about making that move soon then.
If you don't care about collecting things, sure.
And then Joseph says, Microsoft bought Activision. Activision has Vigilante 3rd Offense 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin says, cheers from Ecuador. Loden says, with Activision, they have 16% market, not monopoly. Let's see. Amano says, when are the Funko Pop figures of the Spawncast going to be available? See, now we're getting in the real questions here with merchandise.
When we get a bag from Funko Pop?
Yeah.
Let's see. Andrew says, hey, Rand, what did you think about the Wolf Tea Show?
The Wolf Tea Show?
I'm not a source reader, but I thought the music and CGI was lit.
Are we talking Wheel of Time show?
Yeah, there you go, Wheel of Time. They just said WOFT.
It ended up being okay. All right. I love the show. I love the books. I've read them multiple times. There's some of it disappointed me. We'll see how season 2 goes.
Okay. King says, to me, the acquisition will be more related to Microsoft's vision of the metaverse. I feel it is bigger than PlayStation versus Xbox. I mean, probably because then you're talking about Amazon, Google, and Meta involved, and those are trillion-dollar companies just about we're talking about there. So let's see. Then we have Parker saying, due to the confirmation of Mass Effect 4 being put into production, do you think we will be playing as Shepard again, or will they pull another Ryder?
It would have to be a very specific ending if it was Shepard, right?
It's Shepard. If you watch the teaser trailer, it's spoilers alerts. It's spoilers alerts. It's the ending, the destroy ending where you destroy everything and Shepard's still alive.
What, like frozen in time?
They reenact. Liara's looking for Shepard. She's looking through the debris of everything that had happened. That is the destroy ending, what they showed.
But maybe we're like, we actually don't get to see Shepard. Maybe this is like because Asari lived like 1,000 years. This could be like, it's still not Shepard. Like maybe she's still alive. Like we kind of see Krogan there, but is it the same Krogan? Like,
what if the story is we go to the Andromeda galaxy and we play with characters that we've never seen before and they mess it all up?
They're not gonna go back. They're not gonna go back to Andromeda.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, they're not gonna go because like they were supposed to do DLC for it, but once the game flopped, it was supposed to tie back to what was happening because it's like 600 years in the future or whatever, or light space or whatever the hell it was. So what they're gonna do is it's definitely gonna be Liara's looking for Shepard. That's what I think. Based off of it, everything's destroyed, so that's what happens in destroy ending. So it looks like Liara's looking for Shepard in the area of where there's like dead Reapers and all stuff like that. So that's what it seems like it is. There's the one ending where Shepard lives, and it looks like you're looking there for that. If I was them, I would not do anything stupid. This is not the time to be playing as Ryder or anything like that. You're rebooting this. You had a terrible, Andromeda. Just make it where it's Shepard or you're using him or her or whatever yours was, and do not mess it up. Just don't mess it up.
Jeff Grubb says, do you think Sony asked Phil to tweet to help stop the stock price bleeding? Maybe over launch, they might have. Miguel says, found the Spawncast months ago and just wanted to shout y'all out for some good content. Special shout out to Jordan for the Fringemas. The Hey Arnold episode was dope.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the support.
All right, let's talk about Sony. Because after that happened, we just talked about the stock there. It fell pretty hard. And I think it's a lot of this has to do, obviously, with, well, if Call of Duty goes exclusive to Xbox, that's a massive thing that Sony misses. And if you think about it, Sony's been working pretty hard to shift their focus more to the Western audience over the last 10 years. Basically, since the end of the PS3, they started to look more towards the Western audience. Jim Ryan takes over, and they really made a big push that way. And now all of a sudden, the biggest Western game there is, Call of Duty, could be going to the Xbox. So how do we fill that void? How do we fill in? Let's just assume if you're Sony, you got to start thinking about this now because it's an uncertainty. How do you fill in Call of Duty's spot on PlayStation?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
How can you attempt to recoup any of it? How can you be like, all right, we need, because think about it. Other than that, what's the shooter on PlayStation?
There's only one answer
Sony.
for this. That's Mag 2.
See, now we're talking. Now we're talking.
I mean, you bring out the coaster. You bring out the coaster, or GT. The mag is a coaster, and somehow it works. Backwards Spartan. No,
you gotta. I mean, you have Resistance. You have Killzone. You have to make them again.
Well, the thing I realized with Sony is PlayStation Plus is driven mostly by third-party games. Like Call of Duty, Madden, FIFA, those are all things that people will subscribe to PlayStation Plus play online. And we see the sales for Call of Duty on PlayStation is the biggest third-party or biggest games sold on there. If you lose that, you don't need PlayStation Plus to play Warzone. Like, you can play it without it. So that's why I'm thinking they got to come up with a multiplayer game that is similar to what you'd get out of Call of Duty, just to try to work something in there. So
Killzone. Killzone. It's time to bring back Killzone, right?
Isn't it time to bring back SOCOM and make it a battle royale? There you go, boom.
That, or they get some type of exclusivity with Respawn and they have them build another Titanfall. I mean, there's different options they could come up with here.
I like the idea of a new SOCOM.
Yeah,
make it first person.
Isn't Sony already working with like ex-Treyarch guys on like the next big multiplayer, like Deviation? I think it's right.
Yeah, but now there's a lot of pressure on that title. It's gotta be good. Like at this point,
it's gotta be so good. Everyone says it's failing year over year, despite selling more and more every year.
But it has to be. I think it has to be recognizable and get people talking. So that's why I'm concerned. Like they might just show up with a new IP, and I mean it's tough right now to do that, especially if you have access to those older IPs that at least will get some people talking again about it just coming back. So that's my thought. Is like you have Killzone. Like you have Resistance, which interestingly enough, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that there was the interview with Days Gone's creative director, and I feel like Sony floated Siphon Filter and Resistance, I believe. And they were like, I don't know what we can do with Resistance. I don't know what we can do with Siphon Filter. So the fact that Sony is mentioning those makes me think that they at least are thinking about it. Siphon Filter would be interesting.
Isn't the rumor that Guerrilla's second team working on SOCOM? Hasn't that been like kind of the thing for years now?
Yeah, but I mean, how often do these PlayStation rumors end up being correct?
I mean, didn't they hire like didn't they hire the game director of Rainbow Six Siege?
Yeah, it was just to throw everyone off. Yeah.
Oh, that was just throw everybody off.
Throw everybody off. Yeah. Throw them off the trail. Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that they can get something going for Resistance or Killzone. I think that there's a huge opportunity for Killzone to become something. It's just that Shadowfall. Mm-hmm. It almost reminds me of like Mass Effect. Then you have like Andromeda that just kind of ruined things, and then let's just screw it. For like a long time. Killzone 2 was good. Killzone 3 was really good. It's just Shadowfall came on and just kind of screwed things up. But they can get back to that, and I think that they can. I mean, I think there's something there with that, man. I really do.
Wasn't the Killzone website discontinued?
They got to bring it back.
I thought
the website, they like expired or something like that. But like SOCOM, I think is a good one to bring in. I feel like people would at least gravitate towards that because it would be similar enough to what we see with Call of Duty, Ghost Recon, just these other games that they would go to for PlayStation then. But that's I think how Sony should respond. People are talking about they need to acquire somebody. They just got to announce games.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they need to really acquire anyone beyond what they've already been doing. Like they don't need to do this big acquisition because it's not really it's not their style to do that. Like they don't want to pick up a WB or a Take-Two or whatever what they'll probably do is just continue from what they did last year, where they kind of cherry pick these small strategic studios that they've been working together with for so many years. So like Ember Lab is probably one that I would probably earmark as one. They did Kenna, right? So I would say that's a studio they're probably looking at picking up because they did great work with the Kenna stuff. So I mean, I think they're just going to continue doing that. I don't think they're. I mean, look, are they nervous? Maybe they're a little more nervous, this week than they were last week. But I don't think Sony is going to be too reactive to this deal, right? I feel like they're still in a very commanding position here. And really, they've got some major games that are coming out this year and beyond. And of course, they've got Spider-Man, right? And they've got Wolverine. So, I mean, they don't have to necessarily panic and start thinking, shit, we need to start acquiring studios. But you're right, John. I do agree that they have to kind of maybe think about filling the void of that kind of online service-based shooter game. But I don't think they're panicking right now and they're looking to acquire anything beyond what they've already been thinking about, into 2022.
Sure. Yeah. The idea of a shooter would be interesting though from Sony once again, but that's like people bring up Square Enix and it's like Sony is just contracting games from them. Why would they buy Square Enix if they can just fund projects instead?
Right.
Affording Square Enix that'd be difficult. Like buying them would be Square Enix is worth a lot. So
because Square's next on Microsoft's hit list.
Okay,
if you look at Bethesda, right? Sony got the exclusivity on 2 of them. Microsoft's like, well, enough of that. We're buying the publisher, and then they have the exclusivity not the exclusivity, but the marketing rights to Call of Duty. Microsoft's like, enough of that. We're gonna buy Activision, and Microsoft's had enough of the Final Fantasy stuff, so they'll just buy Square Enix.
I will say this.
Joking, by the way, but
I know, but
there's probably crazy people in there that were saying these type of things too, right, Rand?
If
you're gonna get quoted on Reset Era, Rand.
yes.
If somehow that happened, I don't know how it happened, but somehow I feel like that would create way more conversation even than this acquisition that just happened, because that would be ridiculous. Like that would really hurt Sony.
I mean, that
would actually hurt Nintendo too. Now I think about it.
I mean, if they got Square Enix, then you could say that they kind of swiped them from underneath Sony, right?
I think that would be actually a bad idea for Microsoft, because that could legitimately have been like, okay, hold on, Microsoft, we got to look at this. Okay, like I feel like that would be an actual push towards like stifling creativity and competition. Then
I do think that Sony's investors might put pressure on them to actually make a bigger acquisition.
Do something.
And like MVG says, you acquire the teams that you've been working with for a while, and they are working pretty closely with Square. I mean, I think Microsoft will try to get Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal from Square
I think
at
so
some
too.
point. What if Sony's like, we can at least stop Microsoft from getting them, and because we can get the Square for ourselves. What if they go after Capcom and say, you know what, let's just like Microsoft has locked down Western RPGs, right? And you can even say they've even locked down the FPS market, right, for the future. What if like Sony's like, you know what, let's just lock down the fighting genre. Let's just get Street Fighter exclusive, and we got Resident Evil, we got Monster Hunter. Like that could be an interesting acquisition for them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if Capcom's an interesting one, and like even Sega gets thrown around, I feel like Sega's not like worth that much to these companies. Like I feel like they could make a move on Sega if Sega agreed to it, or if Sega got into actual trouble, like to where they're like, ooh, hold on.
But then you'd also have to deal with it's like Sega Sammy, so it's like another company that's on top of that where they do other things.
It's like
so
Konami.
I mean. Yeah, it's not as easy as just going there and just buying them, especially with some of these Japanese companies. And the value of what they would ask for would be very high.
They would have to want to be purchased probably too.
Yeah.
Like both Activision and Blizzard were looking for buyouts. So
even if you look at like people look at market cap, what the value of these companies would be a lot higher if it was in the hands of someone else because of what you could do with the franchises.
Yes.
So you perceive the value. Capcom's perceived like their market cap is completely different from what they'd sell for, because they just have a bazillion IPs. That
Yes.
so that's the thing with this. So that's why I don't see Sony, doing that. I mean, you never know, right? You never know, but I agree with MBG. Like buying like the developers, and Sony's going to be fine. They're going to be okay. They have a really dedicated base of fans that will just buy PlayStation regardless. For a lot of it. So I don't really see Sony like all of a sudden, oh, now Sony's going to be dead or anything like that. Nah.
I think it'd be smart. I think it'd be smarter for them anyway to just invest in projects contracting out from these companies instead.
I would just sign up more Marvel games and be like, let's get the next 4 Spider-Man games and the next 3 Wolverine games on the list.
I talked about it in a video and I said, look, one thing that I like, Nintendo, they bet on themselves. They just reinvest and just make your games. Sony can do the exact same thing. Stop worrying about this and that and just invest in yourself, bet on yourself, make your games, make your first party. So when you lose a big shooter, like, okay, well, we've got SOCOM, we've got Resistance, we've got this, we're good. Like we can, maybe it's not all individually, obviously they're not as big, but all together, that's pretty big. They used to have that on PS3. They had all those franchises, they had Call of Duty. They had all that.
The issue that Sony's running into is that their games just take a long time to come out. So they are going to have gaps in releases, and it looks like Microsoft's gearing up to have like 5 or 6 releases a year from their first parties at this point for Game Pass.
Well, Sony did say that they've got how many 25 different games in development right now, with half of them being new IP. Yep. So those are eventually going to be done. They've got an okay lineup for this year that we know about. They've got 3 big games, right? They've got Horizon, they've got God of War, and they got Gran Turismo. Yep. Yeah. So that's pretty good. Then you start rolling with some of the other stuff. Maybe you get that up to maybe 4 games per year, put it in each quarter or whatever. So I think that right now it's not too bad with, it's not the sky's not falling for Sony,
And they'll still have Call of Duty this holiday. They might even have it still next holiday, and Warzone will still stick around. So like, I they're going to be okay. Obviously, I don't think they're just going to like Sony's gone this last generation. No, I think they'll be around, but that Call of Duty that hits hard.
No, I agree. I'm not trying to downplay that. That
hit. I saw that. I was like, oof, man.
That's tough because they didn't cultivate. If they cultivated those other IPs to maybe be 7 to 10 million unit sellers between SOCOM, Killzone, or whatever, then maybe it wouldn't be as bad. But they did it. They said, screw it. We're making a bazillion on Call of Duty. We don't need these. Like, we're done. They like SOCOM flopped on PS3. Killzone, Shadowfall obviously flopped. And then, Resistance 3 was good. They just said, nah, we're good.
Yeah,
they just stopped making it. So
I wonder if more companies other than just Sony were freaked out this week, right? Because I think Microsoft's obviously envisions a future where Game Pass is how people consume games, right? I wonder if other companies who maybe resisted that idea after this were like, oh shit, they might actually turn this into reality. Like what is like Take-Two thinking, or EA, who might be against such things, or Ubisoft, and now like, well, Microsoft seems like they might be more in line with that vision of a subscription model being the dominant thing. Like, I wonder how many other companies had emergency meetings this week.
Yeah, I bet you. Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
What's going on here?
Yeah, I think all of them probably did, Rand. Honestly.
Yeah, because you wonder also talks that happened as well with other companies. Like, has Ubisoft ever approached anyone, or has Microsoft ever approached them? Or we see, because none of us saw Activision coming, so you never know. Like,
well, didn't Ubisoft fight off a hostile takeover a couple years ago with Vivendi or something?
Yeah.
But we wondered if they'd be interested in selling. They have problems with their own sexual misconduct stuff, right? Could Sony come in there and be like, hey, let's join forces?
Maybe.
And Sony and Ubisoft are together. Like,
it could happen.
After this week, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like,
that's my perspective.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. You never know at this point. So, who knows? Next week you wake up and there'll be a press release in the inbox saying that Microsoft now owns Ubisoft or something. So
why couldn't they do this in December though? That's my question.
That's what I said to John before. That's like, why couldn't they do this in November when the ad rates were higher?
Dude, Sean would have rolled up with a gold fur coat, like
gold teeth, gold everything.
This man would have been styling. He would have Ric Flair styling. Woo!
Let me go to Evan. We got Discord questions over there.
Oh yeah, still a fair bit. I was able to get rid of some because we kind of talked about it.
We'll go through them. I have some super chats here too to go through. Go ahead.
All right, let's go with to everyone on the cast. What's a band/artist that you are into?
Hit us, Sean.
I mean, Spirit Box.
I thought you were gonna say Madonna.
Well, I mean, my
into
love
her
of
in a
Madonna
specific
is
way.
well documented. I would love to go back in time. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Spirit Box, a lot of Prince, a lot of Madonna lately.
Okay.
No Sting?
Okay. Very good.
Rick James, baby.
Sting.
He talks about Sting all the time on Twitter.
I'm a big fan of Sting. Love Sting.
All right, you want to know, Evan?
Since people on the internet are crazy at making up weird video game acquisitions / mergers, what would be one that would be interesting to you? This guy brings up Falcom and Nippon Ichi.
Interesting.
You know what this feels like at this point? It's like, instead of people being like, who do you think the next fighter is going to be? Like, this is the new question. Like, what two mergers or who's buying who? And
Who's
I'm like,
buying who?
Who's buying who?
Sony's gonna buy Nintendo.
There you go. See, that would be an interesting day on the internet.
I was gonna say Nintendo was buying Sony.
Oh,
Disney's buying Nintendo.
Reverse
You know
Uno
what?
card.
I will say
Tencent's
this.
buying Disney.
It would be I would say the acquisition that would be interesting is if a company outside of the big three bought somebody that isn't, like, if you said Disney, if they came in and they were like, we're taking EA and Take-Two and we're now in gaming, we'll introduce our new console next year.
Disney Gaming, let's go.
Yeah, someone
Someone
buy me. Someone buy us. Just buy
the Spawncast, John. How much you selling for, bro?
Let me check GameCube prices. I'll let you know in a second.
Imagine Mario and Mickey team. That's too much power. Is that even fair? That's definitely antitrust laws, or that's just too much power.
Whoa.
Yeah, if Disney got involved though, that's where things would get interesting because they already own so much.
No. I was totally joking because I told people if Disney bought Nintendo, I'm off the internet. I'm done. Like I'm.
No, not Nintendo. But if they came in and acquired other studios,
I'm done with Disney, man.
like
You're done with Disney?
I'm mad at Disney. They tricked me.
Disney's not done with you.
They've tricked everyone.
because they come in and they just start rolling Marvel games all over the place, and they do stuff with Star Wars on there exclusively. If they own EA, that have all the sports games.
Y'all can hate Disney for what they do.
I don't know.
With
they're
a lot
gonna
of their...
they're gonna have freaking Ganondorf out there doing the freaking
that's
Cupid
not
shuffle at the park. I don't think so.
That's what he deserves.
Disney has done more retro-related re-releases than we've ever seen in recent memory with a lot of their games. You know, with Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Ghoul Patrol, Aladdin, Jungle Book, Lion King.
Yeah,
Like I actually have some bit of faith with Disney when it comes to the video game stuff. You know, movies and their streaming services you can say whatever about, but I think their gaming is pretty solid.
Let me go over to let me go over a few here. Music says the chaos part of me would have wanted to see what articles Bobby Kotick would have made had he gone through buying a gaming websites and the pushback. Yeah, there was a report that he had floated the idea of buying Kotaku or PC Gamer or something.
Did
so
you
he'd
see
stop
his
writing
interview?
bad articles about him.
Did you see his interview that he did
No.
about he looks terrible.
Oh,
He looks
I bet.
like someone that is just in turmoil. He looks terrible for as much money as he has. He just needs to chill. Just go, man. Just stop. He just needs to stop. Like, that's what I wish he would do. But
He needs to learn his lesson and get out of this space with his $400 million pay.
yeah, just take his money and go. Just
He needs to
take
learn his lesson, so we need to give him money.
Take his money and go. He's got a
He
lot of
learned a
powerful
lesson,
friends around the world. Just take his money, do whatever he wants to do next.
We will not tolerate this kind of stuff in the workplace. Here's $400 million. Have a good day.
But we can just convert it into pennies and fire at him out of a cannon. It'll just work.
See, now we're thinking outside the box.
That would take a long time. That'd be a lot of pennies that he goes.
Hold on, can I say something completely irrelevant? Someone today on Sean's video with you and Jordan, which was great, someone said in the comments you're the Paul Rudd of the Spawncast. And I can't unsee it now because they said that you're there, you're in the background, but when you say things, it makes people laugh and it's sarcastic as fuck.
Who?
That's you.
Me?
You're the Paul Rudd.
That means I'm never gonna age.
Yeah.
Good.
He's always
is
looks the
good.
same.
He's
He's like
great.
in his 50s and he looks like 30.
Yeah.
This is from Ice
Don't
saying.
drink and smoke, kids. By the way, if you want to look,
Yeah.
don't drink and smoke.
This is
Nah, a couple of cigarettes
from
will do you right. Look at Sean.
Ice saying, will Sony
It's a
or Nintendo ever be
preservative.
acquired by Tencent, Google, Apple, Facebook? I mean, you can't rule anything
All
out.
the
Who
above.
knows? Who knows where things will be 20 years from now? Even who knows? Lucius says Microsoft doesn't want PlayStation Week because that opens them up to be bought by the other tech giants. The worst case is if Apple buys Sony. Perfect Dark says, I just want a new and good Vigilante 8 game. Wow, a lot of people are calling for that. Or some type of new auto combat game. Activision used to release a new V8 game. When a new Twisted Metal comes out, Microsoft does a response to PlayStation now.
You know, I think would be cool. How about a new Sleeping Dogs? Right, Activision. On
I'd
that.
be okay with that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Good call, Rand.
Sleeping Dogs is fantastic.
Great game.
Of course, Evan. Is that like Grand Theft Auto on horse tranquilizers?
I liked it, but it's one of those situations in an open world game where you literally go into a whole giant city, you do 2 minutes of a story in it, then they're like, all right, go to the next part. And you're like, what the hell is all this for? And then you just drive out of there. And it was like, oh, man.
Boot says Sony needs to be readying a competitor to the Series S and soon. As of right now, Sony doesn't have a console in that space. Mark my words, 1 year. Well, at this point, Sony just needs to figure out how to make PS5s.
They have a digital version, you know. It's $400.
Yeah, I think right now Sony needs to figure out how to make the consoles now. It's just demand is way above supply right now. Rom says, is it possible for Sony to acquire studios like CD Projekt Red, FromSoft, and or Remedy?
Sure.
I've heard that CD Projekt Red, there's an issue because of the government. That's what people have been saying. That I've
FromSoft
heard
is. I don't know if FromSoft work either. Remedy I thought at one point Sony was going to buy Remedy because I think there were
when they were doing Control. It kind of felt like Remedy was shopping around for a buyer at that point. But yeah, I mean that still may happen one day.
Pierce says I modded my Spice Orange GameCube with GameCube Loader, and I'm currently playing through Wind Waker for the first time and loving it. What are some of your guys' favorite hidden gems on the system?
What, my Metal Jesus with the Spice Orange? That's the one that broke, remember?
Star Fox.
Star Fox Adventures.
Not really a hidden gem, but it's really good.
Why are you saying Adventures when Assault exists?
I said Star Fox.
Terminator
right?
No,
Redemption.
he said Adventures.
Hidden
man.
gem, right? Adventure is kind of a hidden gem because people write it off.
No, that's the edgy thing that everybody talks about. Okay, everybody's like, oh, Adventures.
Terminator 3 Redemption.
True Crime, it's a good one. And
True Crime is great.
They may bring it back.
Skies
Def
of
Jam,
Arcadia.
Fight for New York.
Skies of Arcadia.
Skies of Arcadia is good. Dragoon says, what crossover game would you like to see by Microsoft in the next few years?
All of them.
They need to make like a Fusion Frenzy. Bring back Fusion Frenzy and then throw a whole bunch of characters in there or something.
Make their own Mario Party in the style of Fusion Frenzy with the IPs that they have.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. $1 billion IP.
It's from M saying, since Microsoft is buying studios left and right, how long until they increase the price of Game Pass? How much will there be pricing tiers? It's going to happen. I'd say in a couple, like years from now, probably, but I see it happening at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just acquiring too much, and they're going to jam so much into that subscription service that they're going to be like, look, it has to go up. There's too much stuff here. Let's see. John says, not potentially having a new COD game will reveal just how strong the PlayStation brand really is. Joseph says, was going to ask if OJ was on instead. Just kudos to his and especially Miss Click's perspective. Awesome insight last week on trolls, toxicity, etc. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Evan, you have a Discord question over there.
Yep, still a few. Haven't looked into this myself, so correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard make Microsoft the one company out of the big three with the most video game development studios under their umbrella?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's over 30. I know that.
32.
It's quite a few. Yes. So I think they need them because they need to continue with consistent releases on Game Pass. So out of all of them, they need the most because they've decided to do the subscription model. So
someone did just snag a PS5, luckily, according to them, and
good.
They're wondering if there is a reason to hold on to their PS4 specifically for like.
No. Really, to be honest, it's unless you really want to get in the homebrew scene that appears to be forming right now, but even that's probably years off from being like, big time. Not really. I mean, now is a good time to sell it because it will probably fall in price in a couple of years anyway. So I would do it now. Let me go to some super chats, Evan. I'll hand back off to you for Discord questions. Chaos says Microsoft should just make COD Zombie to be exclusive to Xbox for 1 year from here on out. The Cardinal says, if Sony could buy one studio right now, which one would you prefer? Konami, Capcom, Sega, or Square? Also, OJ and Miss Click are the GOATs. I'm going to say Konami because I would like them to do something. That's all. I mean, honestly, Capcom, Sega, or Square, they'll at least make games.
Get into the slot machine and NFT business. Got it. I would say Capcom.
Yeah,
Konami's the best answer. All those other companies are making good games and are fine. Konami's not doing it. They barely. I mean, yeah, they have the Yu-Gi-Oh!
Somebody just needs to buy Konami. I don't. At this point,
Konami's
people talk about
just-
consolidation. Let's consolidate Konami.
Yeah, Konami would be the one to pick because we're not getting Metal Gear. We're not getting the good games from them, man. We're not getting Castlevania. We're not getting anything. All the other companies are making great games for the systems and stuff. But Konami.
Yeah, but Nate says we're getting to Silent Hill at some point, though, right?
But even then, like, what if they still? Konami still hasn't done. They do just enough to people think that it's like, oh, they have Momotaro in Japan, or like, oh, here's Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like it's just they don't do enough.
They did the
what they
Yu-Gi-Oh
have.
stuff.
I don't
drop
like to
the
talk
other
about
day.
when the person isn't here, but Nate is wrong.
Let's see. T-Joe says, I have a PS5, Switch, and gaming PC with Game Pass. My PC is plenty capable, but I much prefer my consoles. So the precedent this sets worries me.
Be worried. Be afraid. Be very
Be afraid. Morvo says, would buying Take-Two have been a more strategic buy for Microsoft?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, because they have like obviously Grand Theft Auto, but like
They only
I
make
feel like-
one game.
yeah, I feel like they really like the idea of grabbing Activision because they have so much in terms of IPs and all
Well,
this.
plus they're hurting right now. If there's a time to swoop in and get
Yes.
something for on the
Exactly.
cheap, are they probably taking advantage of the situation? Probably. Could it be a good thing? Probably. But yeah, they probably got a good deal on it because of everything. And I'm sure Bobby's like, oh, get me out of here. Eee, money, money, money.
Bill likes a good deal.
T-Joe says, did y'all know that COD is PS exclusive to Japan, presumably as part of whatever deal Sony has in place?
I don't know if there's a deal in place for it, more so than they don't see that there's any value in releasing in Japan. I'm not so sure if it's that one or the other, because a lot of Xbox games just might not even release in Japan at all. Or a lot of games that are multi-plat here in the West they don't even release in Japan, like for Xbox.
Zig says, if COD goes exclusive, maybe Sony will finally make another SOCOM. Roche says, what's the point of Legends Arceus using NPLN since it's listed as one player? Could there be a possibility of multiplayer being added in the future?
Just for the trading. All the games that have any online multi functions use MPLN.
Hytham says, I like how Jeff Kaplan reacts to the acquisition of Activision Blizzard along with the former employees of.
What did he say? I didn't catch what.
I didn't see
Kaplan
it
said.
either.
I don't either.
Took his
Interesting.
dick out. It's
Interesting.
crazy.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. Alex says, do y'all think it's possible that in like a year, Microsoft could bring infinite multiplayer to Switch via cloud? A Samus skin would be cool cross promotion.
Look, you don't want cloud multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever tried them. Even the Xbox.
Well, I'd
Great.
say Halo in particular because that is a more precise shooter.
I
Like,
tried it. Yeah.
yeah,
They can't even listen. You gotta fix the game on the platforms it's on now. I don't even know. Like, you think it's bad now? Just try it on the Switch.
I think the
Like,
cloud stuff works well for JRPGs, turn-based JRPGs.
Turn-based.
Fine for that.
Yeah, look at the what's it called? The
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can do it. I can use it runs okay for me, but it's only for very few people.
Says the guy with fiber.
Yes, I tried it earlier, and it's fantastic. Well, it's not fantastic because it's still, but it works. Before it didn't work. I tried it with my old internet, didn't work very well. Fiber, it works, but
Which one did you play though? Did you try 3?
No, the first one.
Okay, the first one wasn't bad because I played the first demo and I was like, oh, this isn't bad. Try 3. 3 is where things-
I'm gonna do a video on it. I'm testing out all of it.
Yeah,
I think they're
3 is
all
where
pretty bad. Did you guys
things
see
turn to
HMK? Did you
dog
see
shit.
HMK?
Yeah, I saw HMK.
HMK, bro. I felt
Yeah.
so bad for him. Oh
It
my
was
god.
like disconnected in the middle of a battle. Like, it was like,
Oh, man.
connecting. It's like cloud games. It doesn't work. Even if you have good internet, it doesn't. It might not even
Yeah.
work.
Demi says, I just want Skylanders. Eric says they need to bring back Tenchu. That game was ahead of time? Or does From Software own that?
No, I think Activision has
Activision, right? They have
Yeah, it's an Activision
Yeah.
game up
I mean, sure, why not?
You mean
Hey.
Microsoft?
Sofa says, with all these acquisitions, I'm 100% expecting Microsoft to come out with a Smash Brothers clone.
Actually, From Software did develop Tenchu.
Yeah, but they don't own it, do they? They don't. They might.
Yeah, as a
develop it, but
company,
I don't
they
know if
usually
they
get
own it.
handed stuff to make it, and then that's it. So
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, it hasn't been Well, they published one of them. Sony, Activision, Sega, Nintendo, Microsoft, Ubisoft. Those are all the companies tied in with the publishers.
Derek says Microsoft needs to buy Ubisoft to fix their yearly releases of Assassin's Creed.
They're not doing yearly releases anymore.
U70 says, with the help of Voodoo Vince, Blinks the Time Sweeper rips open the platform verse and Spyro Crash and Banjo Battle and Evo Aquato.
You know, I mean, as much as I love cinematic or game universes, I think not everything needs to be a universe.
I agree with that statement.
Let's see. Jeremy says RGT should get Walking Dead for Quest 2.
I looked at it.
Okay.
I'm not a Walking Dead fan, so as long as it's not like about the show, if it's just like a game that's kept within itself,
like an original one.
Yeah, I could get down with that.
Hellman says, I saw a Twitter post today that Xbox could make a kart racer with all their IPs. That would be awesome. Shadow says, my wish from this acquisition is prototype reboot.
That'd be cool.
I like that idea.
Pretty interesting.
I would like to see prototype come back. Yeah, that'd be cool. Truly Epic says, bring back Spawn Point and Clips channel. Working on it right now. We got something in the works for it. Lewis says, Sony doesn't have Microsoft money, but maybe they can cut some exclusive deals. If they lose COD, maybe they can cut EA a check for a Titanfall 3. So it was just mentioned. That would not be a bad idea. Yeah. Saint says, how popular is Crash and Spyro in 2022?
It's still very.
Jose says, did Sony start all this by keeping third-party exclusives from Xbox like Final Fantasy 7 and Persona? Xbox wouldn't have made these huge purchases.
No, because they purchased Rare back in the day. Like, that's business.
Yeah. I think in this case, both of those acquisitions, like, they were approached and they probably looked around and said, well, Amazon and who you call it might buy them, so we gotta move on this.
Sony paid a lot for Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah. Evan, we got Discord questions over there.
Do you think GameStop would get more people to sign up for their Pro membership if they made it so you could buy just the console itself if you were a Pro member rather than
just the
bundle?
console itself? Oh, maybe. I mean, they're doing bundles now, even just through the Pro membership, so they still got people anyway. Maybe, I guess. But at this point, people are just doing whatever they can to get a system. So to them, maybe it's worth the Pro membership for it.
With multiverse type stuff becoming more popular, would we see something with another IP that would utilize that kind of thing, like Breath of the Wild, but with like multiple links, similar to how Sonic has done it, and supposedly Bayonetta might do it?
Don't make it.
Wow, I'm sure that wouldn't be confusing at all for the people who try to draw out the Zelda timelines and all this.
I mean, technically Zelda already kind of got into it a little bit with Hyrule Warriors and bringing all the realms together. So I don't know, like as far as like a mainline game, it's not needed. If anything, it's a trope, and I don't think it needs to be dove into, like what Jordan said, with every franchise.
Sebastian says, I still believe in you, Sean. Metroid Dread to 2.9 million units.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle, but I still have a little faith.
We'll be visiting that topic, I'm sure, in 2 weeks when the hard numbers come out.
Yeah.
Spyro says, what's your favorite skate game? 1, 2, or 3? I'm going to say I like 2 a lot.
1.
I like the camera angle of 1. 2 solid, but I don't know. I played 3 the most probably because it's the last one. That's the one I just played over the last decade more.
Paul says, if Xbox buys another publisher, would they have to keep everything multi-platform to keep from getting monopoly? I think it depends on which publisher it is and what games they have. But maybe. Monroe says, Jordan, opinion on Pokemon Brilliant Stars.
That's the card set that's coming out. I mean, it looks good. New mechanics, new types of cards. Really brings back that Diamond and Pearl era of cards from, back in the day. I'm excited for it. Of course, Charizard hype's back. A bunch of Charizards in the set, so.
Okay. Dominican Stud says, I've been subscribed to Spawnwave since before the reveal of the Nintendo Switch. I've watched every Spawncast episode, but this is my first time watching live. Cheers from New York City. Big shout out to Dominican Stud. That was a $99 donation. Big shout out.
Not a Nets fan, or else there's no shout out.
Fish fan says, thanks for another good show, Spawn Crew. This money is for RGT to buy a pizza cut. Wait, you don't have a pizza cutter?
Nah.
Oh wait, you just ate that whole,
Yeah,
didn't you?
you just
That's
fold
right.
them in half and eat them, right?
Also, RGT, what were the good food deliveries of the week?
Man, I've been fucking with this honey turkey bacon cheddar sandwich at this restaurant near me.
Okay.
It's really good.
This is. Oh snap! They blocked the punt. Oh, run it in!
I'm behind.
Oh wow! I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Sorry. Fish fan says.
Dude, I'm behind.
I cannot believe that just happened.
Can we just acknowledge that John just pulled a Sean?
I cannot believe that just happened. This is playoff football though. I can't believe that just
I was
happened.
like, what is? I was like, what is a super chat?
They have
John
no
just broke character completely.
They have no business winning this game, and now they're tied. Jacob says
they did, John.
I would love to see someone like Raven work on.
They ran the football in the end zone.
Put the football in the place.
They did their job.
Maybe now they get to kick it and it goes through the post and they go touch. Everyone wins.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Participation
That should not have
trophies.
happened. That should not have happened. That's why it's surprising. Sorry.
What happened? As someone who's not watching the game,
The 49ers blocked
LeBron
the punt
scored.
on like the
They
one
caught
and they
it.
ran it in, and now it's tied when they've thrown for like 40 yards passing the whole game. and Aaron
please, as a
Rodgers just,
Chicago
like,
Bears
put it
fan,
together.
I hope
And now Aaron Rodgers looks
lose.
confused on the sideline because he's like, I did
really
all of
hope
that,
the
and look what
Packers
you people
lose.
are doing.
Oh my god, that was such a clutch play.
That's funny. Okay. Dragoon says, where and how would the 70 billion be distributed if the deal goes through? Well, Bobby Kodak's going to get like $400 million or something.
Cash money.
Right into the pockets.
And then,
Great
well,
thing.
they're paying shareholders premiums on the shares and all of this too. So it'll be just trust me, there's gonna be so much paperwork and so many lawyers involved. That's what's gonna take so long is that. So Brandon says, do you think this causes PlayStation to ramp up acquisitions? No, I think they're just gonna announce games and that'll be that. Also, remember they have their own subscription service coming up, so we have to see how that is because that could actually be pretty cool. Ruffle says, I bet Bobby is trying to gather as much money as he can so he can bounce from the state. And Maxwell is going to open up soon. There you go. Wolf says, let's say the future COD games will be released on PlayStation. Do you think Microsoft can take a decision to release it on Xbox first 6 months earlier before a PlayStation version? Great podcast. The people are wondering if there's like timed exclusivity is going to be used for Call of Duty and all this. I think Microsoft's going to say this is Game Pass and that's it.
It's all or nothing.
I think so too. I feel like the more money they spend, the more dedicated they are to the Game Pass subscription for those things they bought.
I know Starfield's different, but that would have made a lot of money on PlayStation, you know?
Mhm.
And they were like, Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Game Pass. What about the next Doom? Is that going to be Doom makes a ton of money? Are they going to put that on PlayStation?
Nope.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So like they're going to put it's going to be Game Pass, man. Everything's going to be Game Pass.
Yum says just got new 3DS Mario Black Edition complete in box for $50. I mean, that's pretty good. That's
Nice.
pretty good. James says worked at Microsoft, LinkedIn, GitHub, and Mojang was Satya. Skype was Balmer. LinkedIn was revenue accreditive, and there are quite a few Office 365 integrations. Microsoft has 3 major organizations: Azure, Office, Windows, now gaming. 10 says any good PS4 controller alternatives. Where's that Astro C4 controller that was pretty good, but it's a little expensive. That's more like the premium, like elite controller category. This is from Master saying, do you think Sony should focus on acquiring hardware resources because of the chip shortage or acquire more studios because of the Microsoft deal?
Both.
Yes.
Yeah. Focus on acquiring hardware resources or acquire more. Oh, they should certainly be trying to get more PS5s together. Yes, absolutely. James says Phil Spencer used to report to Terry, who ran Windows. He wasn't elevated to a Satya Direct until recently, past 2 to 3 years. And now he is convincing them to spend quite a bit of money.
Yeah, Xbox was under the Windows division under Terry Myerson. And then Phil got promoted to corporate vice president in 2017, and that's when things started to kind of turn around. And now I think they reorged again, and now he's CEO of Microsoft Gaming. So that's a big step up.
Dislike says reality is an illusion, universe is a hologram.
Don't do LSD, kids.
Pyro says Pyro says stupid of OJ to say a Mass Effect spoiler.
Fuck you, OJ. Tired of you.
Poor OJ.
It's not really a spoiler
man.
since there's multiple endings.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
true.
could literally have a kid who has a driver's license by now. It's not a spoiler. You're good.
Guy with $1 there back says, looks like abandoning Japan was not a great idea. That's for Sony, move more westward. Well, I think now Sony's like, oh, well, they have Final Fantasy 16, so I'll at least help. Evan, we got Discord questions over here. We got a couple more super chats here to wrap up with.
I already own a Series X. Is it worth it to get a Series S for another room to use as a Game Pass machine?
You got money
I'd
like
say
that?
so.
Yeah, if you want to get another
I don't know
console,
your
you can afford
financials,
it. Go
sir.
for it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
We have a generations question. Nintendo Switch, 8th gen or 9th gen?
Here we go.
Is that Shadow Fox?
It is.
It might be.
I
Secretly.
think it's 9th gen, right? Because when you look at old console generations, like look at the there was a 2-year gap between the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, but they're considered the same generation. So
I personally think it's based off of what Nintendo
That's
does.
a tough
Yeah,
question because
and-
of like the releases being thrown off.
Yeah, 7th gen was Wii. The 8th gen was Wii U. Nintendo 9th gen is Switch.
Yeah.
So that's just, I mean, and when people say it's not, then I say, well, the technical whatever. It's like, okay, well, what about the Wii? The Wii was way weaker. Oh, well, we're not counting that. That they always nobody wants to get into that. So just, it's the next system. It's their successor.
Well,
So that's how
I
see it,
always
you know?
compared Wii U to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So
Yeah.
I guess
Yep.
I should do Switch PS5, but because the schedule's so thrown off, and obviously they're just so different. One's a hybrid handheld home console thing. That's the problem. I think it's just so thrown off to where the generations are just hard to even like specify anymore. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I just base it
don't
off
see
the
why
successor.
people
That's what
care.
I do. Are they?
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
What
think
the
most.
fuck do you care? Why would Jenny? I need to know.
Let's see. Shaz says, "Love you guys. VR has a future, and Killzone with a VR and aim controller option would be pretty cool. The film Ready Player One shows a possible future." Fee says, "Love you all. Misclick forever." Parker says, "Follow up to my last super chat. Since we got a legendary edition for Mass Effect, will they carry over our save over to Mass Effect 4?"
No.
I mean, well, maybe Legendary Edition, yeah?
Maybe they'll give you some bonuses.
Bonuses
maybe?
for save data being on
Yeah,
your system.
but
can
I
see
don't
that.
know if they're gonna actually like
Depends on a lot of spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna actually like say, oh well, you did this and this. That's difficult to do, and I know that the producers they've talked about how difficult that was throughout the whole series.
I
doing
can't
that.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now you're gonna do it from like from the it's essentially Xbox. These are PS4 and Xbox One games, to the next gen. That's or to this this current one. So that's tough. But I mean that'd be cool if it did. I'd be down for it.
Byron says, "Building Spartacus with short story-driven games is as dumb as building Amazon Prime only with movies, enough with the third-person story-driven games." Spartacus is going to have games all the way back through their old catalog, like from all systems. And there was a really good library with the PS2 specifically and the PS1. So I think they have a lot to pull from there.
People forget how this week started. This week started with Phil Spencer telling everyone Spartacus is going to have day one PlayStation games on it.
Yeah, he did.
And then the next day they bought Activision. You think those two are correlated in any way?
I mean, they might be, because it is that sense of like, I know what's about to go down tomorrow. I'm just going to tell you now, this is where we're going to be in 10 years, because Microsoft's going to make that happen with subscription services. So yeah, you might be right there. Clapper says, "The fact you guys all forgot about Planet Side 2. That
the world
actually
forgot about it.
that actually had crossplay a while ago too, from what I remember, right? Competitive online dominated space. Planet Side Battle Royale could be very massive in scale. The problem is I just don't know if that IP hits as hard as like a Killzone or a SOCOM, and that's like if Sony's going to do it, they need to be like, okay, this is an IP that is like, it's going to stop the presses here, and be like, all right, cool, SOCOM's back or something. Chris says, "What a time to be alive for Xbox owners. Looking forward to seeing Quake and Quake 2 remakes in the future." Let's see. X Era says, "Hey John, redo your Who TF and turn it on like MVG." I think he means Sean.
No, you stole
He's saying that you, when you were interviewed, you didn't really. Sean didn't ask any hard-hitting questions, and when you didn't answer any of them.
You had hard-hitting questions. I got asked about probing aliens.
Sean asked if I committed a crime.
Well, yeah.
He's trying to get me on camera admitting that.
I mean, there's statutes of limitations.
I don't know if I trust Sean with legal advice for committing a crime on camera there.
It's like fraud wave, crime wave, all sorts of stuff.
It's not DJ Vlad style, you know, because a lot of DJ Vlad stuff, that shit's still like open cases. I'm talking closed cases.
Sean explaining like Law and Order over here while eating a pizza whole. I'm like, all right, I guess we're good. Sean, let's do it.
Expecting John to sit there and be like, "Oh, it's been a few years. I murdered a man." It's like, what?
Sean's definitely like my cousin Vinny. If you've seen that movie,
I'm bringing you into court, Sean. You're gonna be on the stand, okay? And then it's gonna turn into why you don't have a pizza cutter.
I used to have one, but I broke it, and I was just like, whatever.
How'd you break a pizza cutter? What? Wait, what?
Delgado says, I gotta disagree about Toys for Bob getting Banjo-Kazooie. I'd want them to go to Haze Light so they can be brought back in the style of It Takes Two. Slope says, what Microsoft is doing is anti-consumer, keeping so much exclusive to Xbox and hurts the games industry. Also, I won't buy an Xbox because its lack of exclusives. Wait. yeah, that kind of turned around a bit there now.
It has all the exclusives.
Yeah, about to have a lot. Well, Game Pass will. Game Pass will.
People always Xbox has no games. They have no. Well,
they kept prodding him, and he just like watch this.
Making games. They just bought the game.
Gosh,
that's what I was gonna say. They didn't make them.
Yeah, they bought them.
I mean, it's a tactic. It works.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
They're Burger King and McDonald's, you know.
J2 says, why OJ play Buck Bumble if it came to Nintendo Switch Online? Would OJ? He'd have to. Like, you have no choice.
I need to see some money for that one, guys. I need to see some donations.
A whole $5 in the super chat.
Stark says, anyone think Phil walks in the room and asks all the studios, hey, you just want to make something else besides COD? They got Treyarch, Raven, Infinity Ward, Beanox, etc. Not all of them needs to make COD. I mean, that's what he said. He's like, we'll see what they want to make, and then we'll give them the backing. So Joel says, I talked to a bunch of my PlayStation friends that play Call of Duty and they will not switch to consoles to play the game. Sony needs a good FPS.
Man, eventually they will.
Chill says, yeah, I was saying until the next Black Ops shows up, and it's like, well, I'm either I'm building a PC or I'm getting an Xbox. It's what Microsoft wants. So
it doesn't matter. Microsoft still wins. You know.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You build a PC. If you're playing it on Game Pass, it doesn't matter where Microsoft doesn't care if you're playing it on an Xbox.
Yeah, they've made that very, I think, clear. They don't care how many systems they sell. They care how many Game Pass subscriptions they have. So that's. I mean, they actually said 25 million. I was a little surprised they even threw a number out there, but. And Chill says maybe a Killzone 2 complete remaster and a Sly Cooper reboot on the graphical level of Ratchet & Clank would be a great response from Sony. You guys are great. You know what? I am all for Sly Cooper making a return. Absolutely. Dr. Emmett says, capitalism, baby. If you don't like it, too bad. Technically, yeah. Evan, Discord question.
Yeah, we still got about 3 left.
Okay, let's go through.
Do you actually see Xbox Series console outselling PS5 this generation?
Well, they don't make any more PS5s.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
I think the PS5 is still gonna sell the most because they really want to sell a lot of consoles, whereas Microsoft is like, yeah, maybe just sign up Game Pass. I think there's just two different focuses, so I'm gonna say the PS5 still probably sells, more overall, but I will find out.
Could John and anyone else on the Spawncast do an office/game room/collection tour? Yeah. When I eventually move and I get things set up, I will do that.
I did one in 2019. I may do an update this year, maybe.
I'll probably do an arcade update this year, maybe.
I don't want to.
Yeah. What's in it for me, you fuck?
I got like 3 games over there.
Huh? Revenue?
Show me your game room, huh?
Potential sponsorship deal?
I mean, I did a collection.
Not lucrative enough.
I did a Switch game collection not too long ago, so that's okay. Channel.
It's tough to do a collection video when my entire collection is digital.
Scroll through my Steam library for you.
All 3,600 Xbox games are digital.
That disgusts me by the way too. I actually just got a bad taste in my
I told
mouth.
you this before. I don't know why people buy digital in the era of game share, so I can buy every single new release for $30.
That's not the point.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying, and I appreciate you for. I watched the Xbox podcast that you do, and I like it, but still, it's not the point.
Okay, we got another Discord question, Evan.
Best for
Finish up?
last. When's the next Shrek game?
Tomorrow.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? This guy is dancing
Dawn
on
is
Twitter about
literally
Garfield, and then someone asks him about Shrek. He's like,
Garfield is cool. Shrek is not. Shrek.
You
is
were literally Shrek, bro. How are you gonna
stupid.
say that?
You are
No,
literally
I watched those
Oh,
those
man.
movies with this chick once.
You're literally like an onion.
And
Yeah,
the only
you
thing I
are.
liked was Dinky. I wouldn't even say Dinky. Like that was funny, but
What's,
everything else sucked.
Garfield's pretty cool though. I watched some old episodes, and it's
fucking
actually
mad.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
I bought a Shrek mug today.
Killing clowns and shit on there. They don't care. 90s cartoons were better.
This is from
90s cartoons are awesome.
You just feel called out. It's okay. I'm gonna call you Shrek from now on.
Jeff says RGT should get the Quest game Puzzling Pieces. It's helped me relax after the Metroid Dread sales news you reported on.
I saw the chance.
This is from PK. Says, "Hey John, how much you benched? Let's bring StarCraft Ghost Microsoft. I bench more than my body weight. That's the goal.
You don't
right?
you don't weigh that much though, John. So I don't think you bench much.
I don't. I weigh like 170 now.
I'm joking.
I'm
John
lighter.
benches a lot, guys.
Actually, I went up a little bit in weight. I was like 160. At too many games, I was like 164. So I went up a little bit in weight just
Must
for the
be nice.
winter time.
Sports.
For the winter time because it's cold. It's like what's the 20 degrees here. So I'm like, I can't
This is
walk
my
around
weather.
like that.
I love this
I'm gonna
weather.
go up and weight at least a little bit.
Must
just
be nice.
something.
It was like 8 degrees today, John.
It
Must
took me a
be-
while. It took me like 2 months to go up 6 pounds. Though.
Hell
It took
no.
a
Who wants to
while.
live in that weather? 20 degrees? No. I'm
It was
I'm with OJ on this.
Yeah, when you're
Damn.
melting in the summer, and we'll be laughing.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I don't work
I'm
in
between
heat.
my body weight
Conditioner,
and
bro.
twice my body weight. So there you go.
I'll leave the house sometime.
Eric, no, I don't actually. Actually, I don't need to leave.
Sean, you say this ordering everything to your front door. What do you mean? Even your
I
girls?
bought
Come on.
slippers now, so I don't have to put my shoes on when I go outside.
Ordered his
Oh, yeah.
girls to the-
We talked about that.
Am I wrong, OJ?
You're not wrong. Those women be coming ASAP too. They beeline it there, bro.
Okay,
We're getting a little too NSFW.
hold on. Everyone's gonna have to stop for a second, okay?
I don't want to.
Because the
Okay.
49ers are gonna try to win this playoff game in Lambeau.
Okay.
Okay,
have a
let me go
Lambeau
through this
on
real
the
quick.
field?
Aaron, Joshua
Wheel it
says,
out of
did
Lambeau.
Microsoft buy Nate?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
first down.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I'm saying. They're going to try to win the game. Georgie says, I honestly hope
first
Killer
down.
Instinct returns with Xbox Bethesda Blizzard. Justin says, maybe Sony should look into bringing games like Counter-Strike and Valorant to PlayStation, as well as reviving Killzone and Resistance.
Counter-Strike and Valorant on console would be a very interesting experience.
Well,
I-
they've done it.
Why not?
They did CS on Xbox, but they didn't put any aim assist in it because that's not how the game's played, and everyone
was gonna
hated
say,
it because
yeah.
they don't get the assistance. So,
Yeah, you can't with those games. So
And Dwan says, hello, how you doing tonight? I do got a question. Do you think PlayStation is different now? And OJ, I got a question for you to tell your friends about the new game I want to make. That's Dwan Davis.
Yeah, Mr. Davis wants to make a game like Bayonetta, and he wants to talk to me about it. So I said, hey, we're going to talk to John Riggs about potentially
Oh,
having a game.
okay. Very
So-
cool. Very cool.
So yeah.
Well, we got a few more to do here with a few stream lives. I want to go around and get some outros for people. Rand, where can everyone find you? I put your link down in the description as well. Make sure you guys check them out there.
Thanks.
But go ahead, Rand.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. You can check out my content at youtube.com/RandallThor19, and it's awesome being on again as usual. You guys are great. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, Rand.
And I really like
Appreciate
you guys
doing
need to
this.
check out the
You're
Xbox
great.
podcast, man.
You
Check out
should.
the Xbox 2 podcast.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
it's so good. This past week's episode with the whole emergency podcast was fantastic. It was
Thanks.
popping there too, man. It was so good.
Mhm.
Okay, they're gonna try to win the game, OJ. There you go.
Bro.
I won't. I will have zero reaction because you're behind. Okay.
It's okay. Have a reaction if you want.
I'm just gonna go. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm gonna do.
No,
Okay.
don't do that. You make me nervous.
Okay.
That is his reaction. That's his
let's go
natural
to-
reaction.
Let's go to Sean. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on RGT85 or on the trending page of YouTube. No, but thank you for that. That was really cool. Yeah, I got a video going up tomorrow, a completely original idea that I came up with all by myself. I bought some fake Nintendo games off of Amazon. Yeah, I even opened them.
Sounds
all right.
original.
This is how long? This is a 45-yard attempt in the snow.
They're gonna call timeout. They're gonna try to ice him. They're gonna try to.
There's no timeouts left.
No, they're gonna ice him.
Yeah,
They got guns on the field.
Snowing, so yeah.
I'm turning this on.
Wow. I didn't think that was.
He made it. No, he made it. Tell me he made it. John, I hate you. He had to have made it. Oh, come on, man.
he
Put
made
your
it.
pee out here right now.
He made. How far behind are you? Just look on Twitter. He made it.
He made it.
He made it. Oh, I thought you watched it. He stole the game from the Packers. Oh my gosh. They no business winning that game. No business winning that game. 0.
Yo.
That is hilarious. Okay.
I do not want to play poker with John.
OJ, where can
We played Among Us with him.
like I had the 49er shoes on today and everything, okay? I actually wore the shoes. I broke them out.
Come, ain't nobody care about Lambeau Field.
OJ, where can everyone find you, OJ?
I'm at Lambeau, mooning the whole crowd. The whole crowd. Lambeau
Driving
Field.
Lambos on the moon. This is crypto.
No, you can find me in San Francisco, baby. No, I'm joking. You can find me right here. I do live in California, though. Just not San Francisco. That place is too expensive. Anyway, find me right here. YouTube, Player Essence. I got a cool new chat that's going up tomorrow morning. We're talking about Xenoblade, some cool stuff with the guests, so you guys make sure you go out to it for that. Thank you for the support. Shout out to all the Spawncast peeps that are coming over. The Spawncast pre-show, highest Spawncast numbers pre-show ever. We hit almost 500 people beforehand, so it just got popping. Jordan, thank you for joining in on that. People loved having you there. If any of you guys ever want to jump on the Spawncast pre-shows, RGT.
Doing a show before this show. That's why I was initially late, because I had to make food.
RGT, they've been asking for you for a month now. Anyway, if any of you guys want to jump on, you can. But thank you for having me on, John, and thank you for everybody come through. You guys are all awesome.
Yep.
Click.
49ers the NFC Championship game. All right.
John, you're amazing. My mom loves you, by the way. She watches your videos too. So thank you for the support. Appreciate that. But yeah, Player Essence. Find me. I stream 6 days out of the week. I do videos 7 days out of the week. So yeah, awesome.
Mr. Juan says, "Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Did any one of you see the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga gameplay video? I'm really excited for this game to come out. I did. It looks good.
Cool. Looks good.
Looks good. Vox says, can't believe that Tifa news got overshadowed.
Oh, the Italy thing. Yeah, that was funny.
Because it's dumb.
Oh, okay. Okay. Jesse says,
it's dumb as hell.
Last Activision game I bought was Sekiro, but they only published it if Microsoft wants my business. They would make a symmetrical controller. I feel like there's a.
I
feel
like that.
Is there
better in PlayStation?
Blaze says now makes sense why Phil wants cross-platform ban.
Does it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Avedon Smith. Shout out to Avedon. Says 90s cartoons got me thinking of Life with Louie.
Oh, R.I.P. Louis Anderson.
Yeah.
R.I.P. fucking Meatloaf, dude.
Yeah.
I used to watch that show back in the day. I never knew who he was. And then when he passed, I was like, oh, do you know that guy?
Do you know what episode is ingrained in my mind of that show? Is when he finds out he's really good at pitching in baseball.
Okay,
but it's because his mom keeps giving him the signals from the stand as what throw. So they think his dad or his coach or whatever is a really good coach when it's really his mom who knows how to what to pitch and all of this. And then at the end she stands up and is like, give him the knuckleball or something, and he throws it and wins. It was great. This is from Diz saying, what about Microsoft dominating the IDE code editor market share with VS Code and Visual Studios? Why is no one talking about that? Yeah, MBG, why is no one talking about that?
I mean, I use Visual Studio every single day, so yeah.
MBG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. I'm doing a video on Monday. I've been really going deep on the new NSO update. for the Switch, and I'm happy to report a lot of things have been fixed, so that's really awesome. But check out the channel because I found a lot of different interesting things that's been going on with that service. But yeah, thanks for having me on, and good win to the 49ers.
Yeah, they showed the kick again. Yep, it was a good kick.
Sir. Yes, sir.
This is from Spider saying, seen a lot of people on Twitter saying COD will go Xbox exclusive. Just wanted to point out that when Microsoft bought Minecraft, they didn't make it exclusive, and it could likely be what happens to COD. Love all your vids, guys. That was before we did the podcast, so I think we got our thoughts out on that one. Liam says, do you think Microsoft will make any more massive acquisitions like Bethesda and Activision before the end of the generation? Kind of talked about that too.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. Moon says, hey guys, I haven't touched anything other than Zelda, Pokemon, and now Xenoblade, and I'm a bit overwhelmed by which great games to play first. Which games do you recommend are must-experience games, any genre, any console, plus PC for emulation? I mean, Arceus is out next week. That's a good one to look at. And you know what? Dying Light 2 keeps looking better and better as they show it.
Dying Light 2
in
looks
the
good.
act.
So I'm on board for. So I'm going to get Arceus. Then I'm going to go right to Dying Light 2. And then we got a bunch of games coming out at the end of February, like Horizon and Elden Ring and Sifu. So it's going to be...
No spoilers, but Arceus might be better than you guys are all thinking. Just to let you guys know.
I'm hearing it's worth the 60.
Yeah, people are playing it, and it's a lot better than what you might thought it was.
Have you got to see any of it?
I haven't looked at any of the spoilers,
Really?
no. Although I've had somebody that was on Twitter that was saying some of the quality of life updates, not spoiling it for me, but giving me quality of life stuff. And there's some really cool quality of life, really cool combat stuff that they do in the game.
That makes me excited.
Click, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can find me here on YouTube as Misclick Gaming. And then I have the Misclick Archives and Misclick Shorts channels up. The Halo playthrough is up on the Archives channel for anybody who has been missing the playthroughs. I've been having a lot of fun. We finished 1, 2, 3 ODST. We finished Reach. We're moving on to 4. Having a lot of fun. Other than that, you can catch the live streams of it all on Twitch. And then other than that, all my other posts on Twitter and Instagram.
Jordan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on my channel, Jordan Fringe. Talk about cartoons and stuff like that. Appreciate all the support. I'm glad the basketball game was won today. That was a big, whatever just happened. I'm all on board for it. The Super Bowl is happening. Man. Can't wait.
And Evan, let him know.
You can find me on Twitter, Kimmerix Project. If I'm doing anything, I usually post there. On Twitch this week, we'll probably try to hit up the enhanced edition of Metro Exodus since I held off on that for a while, and we're gonna try to keep breaking in this fight stick with Windjammers too. So that should be fun.
Hey, Windjammers!
Shout out to Venicera, been a member for 12 months now. Awesome. Spawncast, as always, thank you to everyone who helps make this community great. You all are the best. Thank you, Venicera.
Happy 1 year of anniversary.
Appreciate that. And then Proud Penguin Skylanders NFT edition check-in mail. Thanks. Oh boy.
That's a good idea.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
No.
Well, we'll close it out on that. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Spawncast. We'll see you guys next Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And I guess we'll be talking about Legends Arceus. So that should be interesting. See you guys.
Yourself.
Think for yourself.
Think for
49ers.
Well,
Yeah.